This is the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 348 for the week of Monday, December 1st, 2014. My name is Zach.
And my name is Steve.
On today's podcast, we have very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul. How's it going, Stephen?
It's going pretty good.
It's good. We also have from the Animanga Podcast, recently rebooted, it's Jammer. Hey, Jammer.
Insert dude joke here.
No, I don't think I will. We also have a special guest from creator of the series Mermin from Oni Press. We have Joey Weiser. Hey, Joey.
Hey.
How's it going with you?
Pretty good. Happy to be on again.
Nice to have you on. This was a really, really big news week in the One Piece world, so we're going to actually be doing our news segment right after this segment. Just to go over some housekeeping, though, before we get into that, we are going to be wrapping up our season very soon. We only have one more episode of the year to go on the One Piece podcast. What we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be airing a special Greg show next week that's going to be going through his Hokotate adventures. So it's going to be, yes, it's going to be a clip show. But it's going to, hopefully we'll have a little something if I could get a hold of Greg, which is very difficult to do. So I'm not going to make any promises there, but I'll definitely try my hardest to get a little intro from him for that. And plus, if you haven't heard this journey before, even if you have, it's a really incredible saga he's gone through. So plus, you know, I may find some stuff to throw in there that's been laying around. So hopefully I could put something really cool together for you guys. And that's going to be airing next week on December 8th. And then our season finale will be airing on December 15th, which will be including the interview that you've been waiting for with Joel McDonald and Ian Sinclair, and the full 90-minute panel that Steve was nice enough to get us at Youmacon. Thank you again, Steve.
Yeah.
Other than that, is there any stuff you guys have going on? Joey, anything happening?
The Mermin books are out, and I've started a Dragon Ball daily sketch blog thing, but I can talk about that more at the end of the show, I guess.
Sure. Anyone else up to anything that they want to?
Yeah, I'll be releasing a book probably January. It's a Western. It'll be available on all kinds of platforms and stuff. So, yeah.
Wow.
Keep an eye out for it.
Yeah. Nice. Okay. On today's podcast, we have Marcus Stimac on. He is the voice of Dr. Hogback in Funimation's One Piece Season 6. It's a really fun interview, right, Steve? That was a good interview.
Fun, like ha-ha fun?
Yes.
Then you're right.
We also have a manga recap of Chapter 769, an anime recap of episode 672, and Piece Together and a lot more. So I think with all that out of the way, we'll get into some news. We haven't done a full segment for this in a while, so let's go for it. Ready, guys?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
This is the news segment, and unfortunately, we have some sombering news to start out this segment. The actor Bunta Sugawara passed away. He was the model for Akainu, so many of you may be familiar with his face. Joey, would you like to tell us a little bit about his acting career?
Sure. He's probably most well known, especially in this part of the world, for his Yakuza movies, most notably the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series, which, if you recall what the theme, like what you might think of as the theme to the Kill Bill movies, that is sort of a take on the theme to that film series with the horns and all that stuff. And he's done a lot of work, and amongst them, my favorite of his work is the Truck Yarrow series, these trucker series from the 70s, which are come up, interestingly enough, from time to time in the One Piece world as a series because in the second movie, it features Kunie Tanaka playing a character named Borsalino 2, and that is the model for the Borsalino character in One Piece. But it's kind of interesting. I almost never see it actually said that Bunta Sugawara is actually the star of these series. And so, in that particular film, you could say that you see a brawl, fist fight between Aka Inu and Kizaru. But and he's if I had to describe his acting style, I'd say he has a lot of intensity. He plays a lot of characters with sort of built up anger and is very intense. Is definitely the best way to put it. And I was mentioning earlier today that not only did Oda model Aka Inu after him, but that later, after he retired, Sugawara started a hot chili farm, and his like brand of chili, Oda drew the label, which is a like updated version, a sort of like current day version of Sugawara like chomping on a pepper like as if it were a cigar, and it says like "It's hot" in English letters. It's a pretty great logo.
And
I think
that little piece of trivia too was on Hakutate, I think the second special when Greg's team won. So probably some people have seen that before as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was a Greg question.
And
sure if it was, but
if you want to see a picture of that, that's actually on the One Piece podcast blog and the write-up about Sugawara passing. Was it who wrote that?
William.
William did. Okay, yeah. William put up a picture of that chili pepper ad, and Sugawara. He also had numerous anime roles. He was in Spirited Away as that guy with all the arms, the like spider guy, and Tales of Earthsea, and I think in Wolf Children. I have not seen Wolf Children, but I'm definitely gonna seek it out.
I don't remember who he played. It's a good movie, but I don't.
Is he the old man in that?
I'm sure, probably. I mean, he was 81 when he passed last night or this weekend.
The 28th, I think. Yeah. No, it's. Are there any? Are those movies like accessible in the United States and abroad, like to purchase or to stream or to find?
Yeah, his Yakuza movies are the Battles Without Honor and Humanity series, which is this 5-movie series that's kind of like very complex, tons of characters. Kunie Tanaka or Borsalino is a prominent actor in those films too. But he and those are kind of like these crazy complex things that I feel like you almost need like a roadmap of all the characters to follow. But they've got a really great mood and are very cool. And those are available. They're called the Yakuza Papers, the DVD set. A movie that he did called Street Mobster is. The Truck Yaro movies are unfortunately only available in Japan. But I encourage anyone who has the means to watch those that they should seek them out.
Cool. Yeah. So I mean, it's a terrible blow that happened, but let's move on to much better news here. One Piece, for what has to be the nteenth year in a row, has topped the Oricon best-selling manga series and best-selling manga volumes in 2014. Great news.
Which for some reason is always measured like from November 17th or 18th to November 17th or 18th every year instead of like the actual year.
Yeah, because that would make too much sense, Stephen.
Yeah, I guess so.
It would just cause too much work around the holiday season.
I suppose.
Now, I actually, for some reason, took the time and I wrote like a little editorial explaining what, the numbers break down to, what they mean in comparison to each other, because the first half of the year, which, as Steven said, included probably November to like April or some ridiculous thing like that, only included one less volume, as did the year include one less volume of One Piece, because Eiichiro Oda recently underwent a surgery, so he wasn't able to produce quite the number of chapters as he did in prior years. So it was overtaken in the first half by Attack on Titan, and the overall was very close. I think it was under 200,000 separating One Piece and Attack on Titan. However, when you look at the year 2012 and 2013, which Redon had the write-ups on AP for, so thanks to him for those still being available on AP, you see that the average of those top 3 to 4 mangas still stayed around the same. It went from, in 2012, 3,023,000 to 2.8 million to just about the exact same amount. I think 100 more was the average. So it's still doing just as well as it did last year. Which, all things considered, and how complicated this arc is and how long running it's been. We've talked about, our fans answered us, this is the longest running arc we've had in the manga. It certainly says something that it's still not only number one, but doing so extraordinarily exceptionally. It sold it had 11.8 million copies this year, and had the top 3 spots, volume 73 at 3.01, 74 at 2.83, and 75 at 2.698. And I think next year we'll probably do a lot better than Attack on Titan, if I had to guess. Maybe.
It'll be interesting to see, I think. Well, hopefully a lot of it has to do with Oda's health and how much material he can actually produce.
That's also true.
Sorry, Jamer, were you saying something?
When you talk about the arc, do you include Punk Hazard in that?
No. Dressrosa. Yeah.
Yeah, this is actually not to be a downer about it, but it's crazy just like how much it's fallen, I guess, in the past few years.
But the thing is, it did in from 2009 to 2012. I'd say personally, from the numbers I've seen, that was a much greater decrease than it has been over the last 2 to 3 years, 2012 through 14.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it was at a peak. It was at one of the bumps. Steven.
The thing is, the average or the sales per volume, like for each new volume that come out, are still extremely high. They have not, they've maybe dipped a tiny bit, but it's still very, very strong. It's just the fact that in the post Strong World boom period, that was fueled by tons of people buying the entire series, which is exactly what happened with Attack on Titan, where it got all these sales because people were just buying the whole series, and then that's obviously going to level off after a while. But
you're absolutely right. Go ahead.
The volume volume by volume sales are still very, very good. Easily better than anything else. So
yeah, I'm looking right now at the numbers from 2010, which I consider around the peak, give or take.
Yeah,
and it had
definitely.
Right, 32.34 million total, but then the average is a few 100,000 less per volume. So
yeah, we're never gonna. I'm not expecting those kind of numbers that we got in 2010 until maybe 2016 or 2017. Because what was it Greg was saying? There's a cycle where every 5 years or so, Oda writes to a new group of people, new group of kids, and there's a new generation of One Piece fans.
Yeah.
Because before 2009, it was, what was it, Water 7? I'm not sure. There was a period before that and a period before that.
I guess we'll just have to see what whenever the next movie comes along, how the people react to that. That'll be very interesting to see.
Speaking of new One Piece stuff, the Volume 76 cover kind of came out. It came out on the back of the Tears series, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But what did you guys think of this Volume 76 cover? Did you get a chance to look at it?
I did.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of what's it called? The cover from Impel Down a little bit at first, because it almost looks like he's ripping through the front, and I think is the Impel Down cover where he was ripping through the front. Am I the only one who?
That was volume 54, 50 something.
I don't think it was 50. I think it was
No,
Well, maybe it was.
It was 50 because the Marineford ended at 59.60, so it had to be
But yeah, it seemed reminiscent of that. Yeah, you're right. It was that one where he's falling through the front. It kind of reminded me of that at first until I looked closer at it. But it looks okay. I mean, kind of cool with the rainbow color scheme they got going on there.
I like that, and I kind of like, even though it is still busy in the sense that there are tons of characters on it. I like that the actual design of it is pretty simple. It's just like one big spiral, rather than like 5 different layers of people that are all in different perspectives and just kind of crazy jumbled, sort of thing. I dig it.
Steve or Joey?
The monochrome characters really help that busyness. Law's leg, it gets a little. Of course, that's the sort of part of the picture that's the most out of focus from what we've seen. But like, Law's leg maybe gets a little cluttery with Frankie's head and Bartolomeo. But like, I really do. I think it was a really great choice to like go with a single color for all the background characters and then really pop out Law and Luffy in the front.
Steve?
Luffy's left arm is a little wonky. Maybe that's just me.
Is it?
Is that the one that's reaching out?
Yeah.
That's that sort of problem with when you have a hand that's have a hand that's facing towards the reader and drawing exactly how it connects to an arm. Like, I don't know, I feel like I have problems with that, where I sketch something, it looks really dynamic, but then when it's time to actually draw the like finished drawing, you're like, oh, that doesn't quite
it
fit.
makes no sense. But
He's made out of rubber.
Cool, very rainbow-y. Even the One Piece font is rainbow. It's cool, I guess. I mean, it's not really one of my favorites. It's an interesting concept, though. We got deprived of knowing what Kanjuro's color scheme is.
Yeah, but I love that drawing of him. Like, he looks really great. Like, he might be my favorite part of this picture. And Usopp, he looks really great, too.
And I forgot that, I didn't see it till now, but Leo is on, looks like he's on Bartolomeo's shoulder.
Oh, yeah, he
Oh.
is. Didn't even notice.
I think my favorite part is the koala stretching Sabo's face out right in the middle.
Yeah.
Such a great way to take him down. Like, instead of having him be like front and center, like, check it out, it's Sabo.
It's Mr. Badass. Sabo.
And it sort of also aids to like hide his face a little bit too.
Yeah. It was.
Is this the volume where he's revealed?
I think it was the last one.
Yeah.
Or the one before even. Yeah.
And
that's
crying.
And that's
When my daddy when.
And that's Cavendish's horse, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
That's
what's his
so
name?
random.
I wish the horse was red.
Farul.
For
He played a very important part of them actually moving up a mountain, so
I mean, it's
he deserves a cover.
No, I just think it's funny. It looks funny.
yeah,
What
he
would
gets
they drape
taken down a
over?
notch too. I don't hate the cover. I think I kind of agree with Steve. You know, it's definitely not going down as one of my favorite covers, but it's fine, I guess. You know,
It's cool to see him try something new.
yeah. It seems random to me. That's kind of the thing. I think.
I think the Usopp and Rebecca at the bottom right seem off.
Yeah, it seems like the image isn't complete. Like there should be 2 more characters or something to fill it out. I don't know.
Or just remove them.
Or
And
just
then-
There is a lot. There's that empty space that's the other spiral, right? The
Right.
like negative space, and that you're not used to seeing that, and it's kind of a little awkward.
Yeah, I think that's what took me out of it a bit. Anyway, that was revealed on this new book called, it's the fan voted top 10 tier scenes in One Piece, which is sure to make you weep a little bit, or at least the scenes are. I don't know about the book. That's going to be on sale December 1st and 15th. I don't think there's much to say about that, but you could check. There's an interview with the AKB48 members, Minami Takahashi and Yuria Kizaki. You know, I don't really care if I'm pronouncing those correctly. Yeah, so you could. Those are going to be, I think, MOOCs, which are magazine books, which they had something like that for Strong World. They come out every so often. It's nothing I'd be too excited about personally, but yeah. Also, it's, the time of year where things are really freaking cheap. So I'll go through these right now quickly. The Viz has holiday deals on box sets 1 and 2. Those are those huge One Piece box sets. And you could get them all for at least 50% off, which I think equates to around, it's definitely like around $2.50 per volume, which is kind of nuts.
That's great.
That goes through Water 7, so I think it's volume 43 or 46 or something like that. So definitely check that out. FUNimation also has their own bundle. I think it's collections 1 through 10. And those are also extraordinarily cheap. That might have just been a Black Friday sale, but I'm sure they'll do another sale with those. Those are easy to find. I also forgot to say for volume 76, it's going to be a 216-page volume, so it'll probably contain one more chapter than the usual. The episode of Chopper Special Edition is going to air on New Year's on Fuji Television. As William put it, to combat the bad ratings they've been having on New Year's. So,
you want to know why you have bad ratings on New Year's?
Why?
I don't know.
Is it opposite that red and white show thing?
Oh, yeah. The Kohaku.
It doesn't stand a chance.
Yeah.
I just assume anything on New Year's is just death.
Well, that's not true. I mean, it's mostly true. You're mostly right, Steve. But it is against this mega hit. What is it?
It's like a singing contest thing where basically all the celebrities split into 2 teams. It's basically the Super Bowl of Japan. It's like the thing that everybody watches. It's a tradition.
New Year's is very, very big in Japan. Right?
Yeah, it's huge. That's really the big end of year holiday for them, and not obviously Christmas is not a big thing there.
No, another reason for me to move to Japan.
Some kid's gonna be really upset that he can't watch his cartoons when his mom's watching him watch Enka competitions.
Yeah.
Well, even more so since apparently there might be some extra scenes not available on the DVD or Blu-ray releases. Curious about where that's going. I think William will be publishing more details about that this week, so keep an eye on.
I just don't understand why we're getting an episode of Chopper when we already had one. It's called Movie 9.
Because it's winter.
No, it is Movie 9.
Yeah.
It's Movie 9.
Rerunning it.
Yeah, they're rerunning
It's called
9.
the movie episode of Chopper Plus.
Yeah, that's the name of the movie.
It'd be funny if they're just half-ass scenes they just added in real quick.
Wait, you're laughing.
It's at the beginning. There's a warp hole, and that's where Frankie and whoever comes through.
And to round off our news segment is probably my favorite piece of news, which is the most obscure piece, and that is that Jump Plus, which is this new thing that Weekly Shonen Jump is launching, which is basically what we have here with English Shonen Jump. It's an online version of the Shonen Jump magazine, and I believe from other, you could also get series and volumes and stuff, so it's basically Viz manga over there in Japan. They've come out with some of the funniest commercials I've seen in a while. Have you guys had a chance to see these?
Yeah,
No.
They're awesome. They're great.
Joey has. Thank you, Joey.
They're so good. I recommend everyone watch them. They're heavy in Japanese, but you guys have the transcription of the One Piece ones.
And the thing is, you really don't need to speak it. You kind of, if you're a fan of, the show, which I'm assuming most of us are fans of One Piece, it's pretty self-explanatory. You probably hear the words he's saying in Japanese enough. There's also a great one, if you're a Dragon Ball fan there as well, that's equally ridiculous. They're all ridiculous. So yeah, check that out at onepiecepodcast.com. They're a lot of fun. I think that's all the news, though, so why don't we get into the manga? You guys ready?
So ready.
This is the manga recap for chapter 769, Bellamy the Pirate. Steve, what's going on the front page here?
Well, on the front page, we have Jinbei diving below the sea depths to find out the mystery of the flinging ruins. Do do do.
Oh, so yes, this is volume 16 of Jinbei's Solitary
Oh yeah, I forgot
Journey.
to read that. Might explain something. The Solitary Journey of Jinbei, First Son of the Sea, Volume 16. A shadow vanishes into the depths. The culprit is in the water. Yeah, I think I got the gist of that.
It doesn't mention the ladies that he's impressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
This is definitely out of some like 1940s cartoon. This fish.
Well, these fish kind of look like they're freaking Betty Boop.
Yeah,
They should
exactly.
be bouncing up and down.
Why are they just randomly there? It doesn't make
They're both doing
Ladies.
this interesting thing. I don't quite understand what their body position is supposed to be, like
It's
as
like
if they were holding a skirt, like if they had skirts, but they're like flowing in the wind or something.
It's their fins. It's their fins.
Well, I mean, I know that. I'm just saying, like, what he's trying to evoke, what Oda is like trying to evoke with the.
Well,
the image.
either way, it seems like we're moving to something a little more interesting here, and moving a little further away from Don. What was it, Don Chinzhou
Danchin Jr.
Don Chin Jr. That was it. So we're moving a little further away from Don Chin Jr. and we're
Don
moving
Chin Jr., number 2 chin guy. That's the Hong Kong Fooey theme. I don't know how that relates to James Bond Jr., but
Hong Kong Fishman Karate.
Steve, can you start us off on the front page
yes,
of the manga?
with a Zersh.
Oh my god.
A room is created. This is just post Doflamingo getting stabbed by Law's shit. What's the
Injection
name?
shot.
Injection. Thank you. You got Trouble there going, nah, Dofi, I'm worried about you. Law showing, showing determination as we cut back to Grenade Vest Law, looking very kind of solemn, looking defeated, as I want to die. Well, then he was pretty determined back then as a kid.
He was determined to kill.
Yeah.
I think the difference is that he was dead-eyed then, and
Yeah.
now he's furious.
And I this is just Doflamingo's point of view, flashing back, seeing that how Law has changed so much since then, but not in head fashion wear though. He
Yeah.
likes his leopard prints
Now he has a brow instead of just the
instead of
folded
the
brow.
what is it, the Lone Ranger shadow.
Yeah. Wow. God, that is a Lone Ranger shadow.
So with a snick,
Oh my god.
one of the corner towers gets detached from the palace, and Law says tact as he does the Yamcha spirit ball thing.
What did that mean again? What did that mean again, Steven?
That's
Tact?
a baton, like a conductor's
Oh, right.
wand thing.
And with a zip, he points that way, sending the tower that way, and
It's flying right at us.
Treble being very astute, saying, "Whoa, the tower! Here it comes!" And Doflamingo does something really cool. It's revealed that he is a Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
He makes a spider web.
What is this one in Japanese? What Judge Ito is this?
What the hell did you just say?
Now I have to.
Jammer, you haven't been listening to us, have you?
Yeah, he's
That reference was made a long time ago.
So that isn't his sharp strings. Otherwise, it would just come through like a cheese grater.
Yeah. What does he call this? Akumo no Sugaki, which is basically it.
Oh, it's not
It means
Ito.
it means spider web, but I think it's more like the act of a spider drawing a web. So he's sort of making the web rather than just saying spider web. I guess I don't know.
It looks cool.
Spider web.
That's a cool panel.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Steve. Yeah.
So Law is kind of like, he has this cool pose of just holding his hand out as, post creating the web. And Law puts out his hand out with a pish, and with a grick, he clenches his fist. And Doflamingo notices what he has done.
Okay, so here we see this big panel where it looks like all of these. Now, I'm a bit confused at this point. Maybe you guys can clear it up for me.
That's not
So
good.
we have all of these things heading towards Doflamingo, and then all of a sudden it looks like it's back to where it was before, kind of.
Yeah.
that might have been poor attention to detail on their part.
Do you think it's just extra other rubble that's on the other side of the spider web, like that they're standing on, that he's commanding? I don't know.
I think it's sort of like what you were saying, how it kind of chopped it broke the tower into a lot of these little pieces, and I think Law is kind of using them as like projectiles, like little bullets.
Yeah,
and just yanking them into.
Okay, so little pieces from those are coming out. Okay, that kind of makes sense.
It is a little odd.
But then Law looks very surprised at what he just did.
I think he just knows that he has to follow him, or that alone is not going to be enough.
Got it. So then Doflamingo escapes. He jumps out, and then Law goes behind him and does a Chambres scalpel, and then it looks like he hits him. It looks like it, but he does not. It looks like Doflamingo actually grabbed his hand, and he tells Law, "Stop repeating the attacks that you know aren't going to work on me." You're basically being one of those people who thinks they can just get by on guts and intensity alone. He's not thinking. He's not using his head.
He's basically accusing him of being Luffy. That's basically
the gravest of all insults for Law. Next to, would you like some bread, please? Anyway, so Doflamingo on the next page continues, look, if you really wanted to kill me, you just would have let this happen. You would have let Kaido kill me. There are a lot of ways to kill someone without actually getting in there and trying to, physically murder them.
Like hurting them emotionally.
Yeah, exactly.
Kill him on the inside.
Which is what Doflamingo did to Law, which is why Doflamingo's winning right now. He's like, well, you let your feelings for Corazon, get the better of you here, because I killed you emotionally several decades ago. And so the instant you decided you had to get back at me personally, that's when you were dead, Law. That's when you were dead. And he said, look, do you remember the message Corazon tried to send all those many years ago? And we see a little flashback of that moment where everyone just like...
Virgo's like, hey, thanks.
That was worse. That was terrible.
Here's...
I know, his hair is awful.
Shut your mouth. He looks great.
Wow, we're getting into some real argument here.
You must have thought Gohan's haircut was good, too.
Nah. He can't work it the way that
Virgo can.
Virgo can.
Remember Gohan from Dragon Ball?
So when's Kanye West getting that haircut is the question.
Which haircut are you talking about, Steve?
The Namek Saga.
Right?
Yeah, the Namek Saga one.
The Namek Saga? Oh, okay.
Like I said, Banana Saga. That was my favorite.
Well, Gohan never styled his sideburns, so that's where he loses.
It's true.
He was a kid. He's not from One Piece, where One Piece kids have the potential to grow sideburns. Look at Zoro. Kid Zoro has sideburns.
Wow.
What a badass. That's like being like the first kid that grows like facial hair in school.
Yeah.
It's like, oh man, Zoro's got sideburns.
I don't think I've ever thought that as a kid. I never thought that as a kid, saying, oh, sideburns are badass.
I'm the only one.
It wasn't sideburns they were talking about.
So as we recall from 20 minutes ago, Corazon was giving Law a little tube that could save Dressrosa, and Law gave that same tube to Virgo, and Virgo said, don't worry, it's fine, I got it.
Look at that hair.
Okay, we did this already, Trevor. And Doflamingo explains, look, Corazon was trying to save Dressrosa. Well, come on, duh, we got that. And Doflamingo's, look, if you hadn't screwed up, I wouldn't have been such a jackass and done all this shit. And just, created all these tragedies. It's just very odd coming from Doflamingo. He's like, yeah, I wouldn't have killed all those people if you stopped me then. And Law even notices it's like, even you consider them tragedies?
It's like, what?
That was a really interesting moment.
Yeah.
Because it really kind of shows the cracks in the armor. I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting that they had him actually point out that thing. Because it would be normal for Oda to actually have a character say that and not point it out. Because it's just typical villain being an asshole and blaming everyone else for whatever problems he caused. But the fact that he pointed it out was pretty interesting.
Well, a lot of villains think they're doing the right thing a lot. Like, they wouldn't admit their tragedies. Like, oh, I was doing this for the good of, whatever. I don't know. But Doflamingo knows he's...
Kills millions of innocent people.
But, I mean, there are really some people who think they're killing millions of innocent people for the greater good, which they're, of course, psychopaths in their own right. But Doflamingo knows he's a psychopath, and he knows he's not doing it for the greater good. So he says, that's a very calm and clever point you just made. Anyway.
That's the first mistake. It's the first mistake I've ever made.
Steven.
Doflamingo says, yeah, well, guess what? It doesn't matter what he had put into that little tube message. I just would have dealt, I would have gotten around it and taken over this kingdom anyways. And we see he's extended a little string from up his leg down to his heel, and it is very sharp. It's glinting, and
so really quick, he just contradicted himself, correct? Did I?
Yeah. Well, first he's like, look, what he was trying to do was get to like Law's emotional core and say,
right,
hi, if you weren't such an idiot, none of this would have happened. And Law's like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not the case.
Got it.
Or Doflamingo's like, okay, look, this probably would have happened anyway, but I'm still gonna kill you. Anyway, sorry, Steven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry.
I'm generalizing.
And he kind of puts in he's trying to sink the dagger in. He's like, everything Corazon did, like his entire life was meaningless. It all went to waste. And he kind of stretches his leg up over Law's shoulder, and Law is arguing back. He's like, no, that's for me to decide, because I represent what Korra has achieved. Like, he's basically saying I'm carrying on Korra's will, so everything I do in his name is all to his credit. I represent what he achieved in life. And Doflamingo's like, oh, that's real sweet. And he goes into this speech here, and Doflamingo says, yeah. So this is all reality. This is all that matters. All the tragedies, the failures, the weird quirks of fate. These happened. You ate the op fruit. You ran away. You came back. You tried to bite back at me at Punk Hazard, and here you are now. This is it all happened, and now I'm going to deal with it. And he looks really menacing here. He's got Law both hands now, immobile, and that string is right over Law's shoulder. And then from that floating position, they just slam. He just slams Law down onto the palace. There's a huge explosion of dust. And Treble is like super excited about this. I don't know. It's just like some guy in the wrestling audience or whatever. Yeah, you did the string saw. Yeah, clapping his hands over his head. And then we see Law. He's like that alien in the Mos Eisley Cantina when he gets his arm chopped off.
Ponda Baba.
Yes.
Making the same sounds, it's making the same walrus alien man sound.
Yeah.
I imagine this being a pretty gut-wrenching yell here.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Talk about being disarmed.
Oh, my God.
Seems like Trafalgar Law has really lost his touch.
Didn't we do this, like, in some scene?
I'm writing this down, sorry.
Austin Powers related.
When you mean when Dofi
lost
his head.
Yeah.
Oh right, we did.
Oh yeah.
Looks like he could use a hand.
Yeah.
Hey, his arm got cut off.
It's gnarly, and it would be shocking. I think maybe I'm just in disbelief a little bit, but it seems to me like this is sort of a freebie for Oda, because knowing Law and how powerful his abilities are, it seems like the sort of thing where, if he gets a minute of free time, he could fix himself up with his op fruit.
Or we could just grow a new one.
Yeah, or just grow a new one.
Right, I don't think that's how that
it's the extra. It's the lizard side
Speaking
effects.
of Namek.
Nice.
I mean, we've seen arms get cut off and not grown back. I believe that happened in chapter 1 of the series.
Very true.
All he needs are some strings.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. In fact, I was talking about this with someone, where it depends on how complicated, because his powers are already pretty complicated. Like, he can use it to die and make someone else immortal. He can do all these. He can switch his body with other objects. Like, there's lots of rules that I don't think are necessarily all that clear, and so I feel like he should be able to attach his arm, but Oda could also invent some other rule that says, oh no, you can't stick your arm back on, but there could be room for, like, say, Leo with his sewing powers at maybe later on in the arc, he could do that.
Well,
there are a number of ways around this.
To reattach this, I mean, at least medically speaking, it has to happen soon. Like, you can't just be laying around without an arm.
Put it on ice or put it in a glass of milk.
This is One Piece logic. Let's keep in mind.
Yeah,
this isn't real life. But yeah, it's go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it does seem like this casts doubt on what I was kind of hoping, which was that Law would either directly or in tandem with Luffy be able to take down Doflamingo. I mean, if he does, it's going to have to be in a different way, or he'll have to do something with one hand. Like, he's very clearly incapacitated by.
I mean, I could see him getting involved in some way still, even if his arm isn't attached, he could probably still do something. But I think Luffy's definitely gonna. If Doflamingo's gonna be defeated, I think it's mostly gonna be Luffy. At this point,
yeah.
I don't know if his arm is gonna be reattached or not. I wouldn't be surprised either way. I'm hesitant to say. I certainly wouldn't be surprised if he somehow miraculously uses the fruit and reattaches it. But I also wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't get reattached, and that would be a pretty bold move here. Especially after everything that happened. I mean, what a jackass Doflamingo. After everything, we just went through this huge flashback of him just...
You took away his right arm. That's the fangirl's favorite arm.
Yeah. God.
Well, it could be, the Oda has to balance the scales. He's like, okay, Law was the cool guy, and now he's just got his super cool and affecting backstory. So now I have to, like, chop off his arm to make him less cool.
Well, look at everything.
Cooler. That's cooler.
The no arm thing?
It's cooler. It's cooler to guys. I don't think it's as cooler to girls.
No, yeah, I think that's about right.
No, man.
All right.
No.
Yeah, you can.
So continuing on, Doflamingo is just he's crowing in victory here. He's like, hey, and yes, and even the fact that Luffy, the other D, influenced you. He kind of. I think the implication here is that Luffy's kind of direct confrontation sort of it influenced Law to throw away, as Doflamingo was mentioning earlier, to throw away his carefully crafted plan to have Kaido do the dirty work, and he kind of was like, no, I want to do this myself now, and that has led to this moment. It all happened, and Doflamingo's like, but you know what? All this stuff that happened. I forgive you for it. But how does he do that?
With death.
The same way he forgave his father and brother, with death and with hot lead. He says, it's
Sorry,
an interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I just wanted to make that same Back to the Future 2 joke 2 weeks in a row.
He's pulled out his special execution gun.
I use this gun for my dad and brother and other people I care very deeply about that I like shooting.
Is that the same gun he used to shoot him and didn't kill him last time with?
We had to piece together a question yesterday that asked whether or not Doflamingo uses a gun exclusively for those close to him who he kills. I don't think it is, though. It looks like a shorter
I'd have to go.
gun.
Yeah, I'd have to go look up that previous scene.
It's a very stylish looking gun for the One Piece world. I'll give it that. It looks a lot different, and yeah. Anyway, Joey, go ahead.
Yeah, this line that he continues to say, it's just not an execution unless you use hot lead is such a like, it almost is like a weird OCD. Like he's like, if I'm gonna kill somebody, I gotta pull out my gun and I'm gonna use, but yeah, so he's about to shoot Law, and then suddenly there's a huge burst and a figure comes flying through the floor / ceiling of the castle. And as you look up and you see that, and I love these next couple of panels. It's Doflamingo's body double in several pieces, unraveling, and Doflamingo says, "I suppose the cage was a bit too small to keep that one locked inside." And then we see a shot of Luffy squaring off against Bellamy.
I did want to mention about the Doflamingo thing you were mentioning earlier. I guess he doesn't want to kill people without a gun because he could have totally just taken Law's neck right off.
I thought about that too. But it's One Piece.
No, but the whole thing is, it makes sense. Doflamingo just likes shooting people to death.
Why don't you just cut his head off? You just cut his head off with like your string. Boom, done, dead. No one's gonna shoot him with the gun because it's more poetic.
I don't know if beheading is not execution.
The Austin Powers references we've been making for 5 years.
Well, it's the total opposite because, in that movie they suggest just use a gun. This one, it's like, just use your string powers. No, I'm just going to shoot him with the lead bullets and just assume, the bullets will take their course and he'll die.
It's all you, Steve. Go ahead.
I like the term Dofi double.
Dofi double.
Dofi double trouble. Dofi double stuff.
There.
Physical challenge.
Strings.
So Luffy yells up. Did we even see kind of like Luffy and Bellamy kind of break off into Luffy, Bellamy, and the double break off into their own fight before the flashback?
Yeah, we did, right?
Okay. Did he get? Yeah, he got like knocked off. Like.
Yeah, he fell down. He was knocked down. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he yells up. He's like, "Hey, Mingo, stop it already, Bellamy." He
Stop it.
Stop it. Cut it out. Stop it. Bellamy's had enough. Stop it. Just leave him alone, you big meanie. So Luffy says that. And Dofi, like the douchebag he is, he says like, "Oh, you're still alive, Bellamy?"
Well, I like how. Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead. Go ahead, Steve.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And Bellamy kind of looks up at him like, "Yeah." And with
grit,
with true grit.
Yes.
And Toby's like, "Oh, very well." And with a flick of his finger, Bellamy collapses, and Luffy's like, "Hey, Bellamy." And Bellamy's beaten to shit. He's just got knots above his left eye. He looks like hell. And he's just like twitching. But he's looking back up, all the way up at Doflamingo. And Doflamingo from the hole in the ceiling. Really cool panel. I like this one. Very good dynamic of showing like the three characters there. Kind of forms a shape.
A triangle.
A triangle.
Yes, that is a shape. Thank you.
And Doflamingo's like, "You're free now, Bellamy, just like you've always been." And now with a whoa, 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 we go back a little bit. New flashback. It's not that long though.
Good thing.
And we're kind of just in what looks like just some rundown place, and it's young Bellamy, and I can only assume that Zarky's behind him.
Yeah, it is.
We got the other guy with the hat. Oh, I forget. Rivers. Yeah, he's there too. And they're talking with Mr. Pimp Treble. And
Treble Kramer.
Yes. Kramer Treble. And
Kramer,
Treble's like, "Where are you from?" And Bellamy's like, "We're all from Nortis." And Treble says, "That's a rich city. What's your problem? Like, what tough times have you kids gone through?" They're like, Bellamy and his friends are like kids from Greenwich, Connecticut.
I think the rest of us in the world don't know what that means.
They're the Mean Street Posse, just a bunch of rich white boys who are like, "Yeah, we're tough."
You don't even know where Greenwich is. Have you heard of the state Connecticut?
Yes.
It's okay. It's symbolic of
That
this.
still means nothing to me. I don't.
You're from California. How about Irvine?
Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
Asians.
Yes.
I mean, I'm serious. Like it's a bunch of rich Asian people.
No, it's okay. It's
These days?
the people at the yacht club.
My point
It's
is, yes,
Fucking with you guys, I know.
It's
you jackass,
typical-
Joe.
You guys have made enough comparisons. I get it.
well, I guess they could be Asian. I mean, I don't want to discriminate. No, they're just the typical. I don't like the villains in every college comedy movie ever. I say, you're ruining.
We should just have that voice for Bellamy. Why have we not had that voice
No.
before? No.
He needs a sweater draped over his.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
sweater vest. A tennis racket in hand.
Yeah, I don't think the wife beater works as well as the tennis racket and the, what do you call it, the varsity jacket.
So that's exactly. I just love it. Bellamy and Zarkis, the rest of them, are just a bunch of stupid douchebags that just think they're tough. Typical bullies. Because they're like, oh yeah, that town is boring, man. There's got to be life outside of the small town. More sweaters. And Doflamingo with this awesome, typical back towards whatever's happening, but sitting at the bar with about 3 or 4 fingers on his glass as he's probably just like swirling it around, listening to what's happening. Awesome pose. And Bellamy's just like, yeah, the Don Quixote family's the pride of the North Blue. We want to be legit, just like you guys.
Oh my god, they are varsity.
And also, we hate pirates with dreams. And Doflamingo's like, my ears are burning. Not really. I don't think Doflamingo ever touted like, oh, dreams are dead, because I think that was just all Bellamy.
Yeah, no, Doflamingo was pro dreams. It's just his dreams.
Yeah, even Doflamingo thinks dreams are stupid. Like, oh, really? He said that? Yeah, totally. I heard him say that once.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a case of Bellamy was like he saw something in Doflamingo that he admired, but he also like totally ascribed his own personal beliefs to Doflamingo, and that's sort of the root of why they had this falling out.
And here's a familiar statement right here. Doflamingo says like, all right, I'll lend you our symbol, but if you lose to anyone, you're giving it back. And Bellamy's like, really? Yahoo! It's Super Mario Brothers.
Freaking Anakin from Star Wars.
Oh god,
That's who Bellamy is. Anakin from Star Wars. Well, we all know that Oda is a big Episode 1 fan, so he actually is.
Are you serious?
Doflamingo, are you an angel?
It's Qui-Gon Jinn all over again. Anyway, I don't know. It doesn't
No,
make
it's
any
the
sense.
total opposite of Qui-Gon.
Qui-Gon Jinn was the only.
Qui-Gon was passionate about taking in Anakin. Doflamingo was like, I guess. give him a couple T-shirts. Give him some bumper stickers.
Anyway, Jammer, right?
Was it me?
Yeah, it is you.
All right, sure, we'll go for it. Anyways, he says, I have
Good
no
luck.
use. Thank you. He's like, I have no use for weaklings. He's like, no problem. I won't lose to anybody. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't challenge everybody if that was like the provision I had, for keeping my place in the crew.
Well,
But
notice too, I took a slight liberty. Is like not a Freudian slip or something, but I made him say, "I won't lose to nobody." In that, so it's a little double negative.
And we flash back to the present, and Luffy's telling Bellamy, he's like, "Hey, are you okay?" Well, I guess you're not. No. And then
he's already having flashbacks. He can't be doing that well.
You're not in a flashback, are you? Pull out.
And then
we ain't getting a flashback.
we come back.
When I had my flashback, my brother died, so you're probably not doing all that well here.
It'd be hilarious if this happened with Law. Like, hey, Traffy, wake up. Like, no, damn it.
I'm having a flashback.
Finally gonna know more about my conviction. Like, hey, wake up. Bellamy, just nothing ever comes easy for Bellamy.
Sorry, Chandler.
Now everyone's gonna get to learn about me. Like, no one cares.
No.
Okay, so we head back to the flashback back to when we first met him in Jaya, where he's saying the pirates' dreams are over and all that shit, and then back to where Luffy
believes that. He totally
Then we flash back to where Luffy punches him, and then
Which
back
is
to the present
fantastic.
again. Like a bunch of flashbacks in there, and then all of a sudden we're back to, I guess, not too many chapters ago, where he's a changed man, and Luffy notices as Lucy. But he tells back in the
That
present.
was 2 years ago. I just want to make note of that. That was almost 2 years ago.
Was that 2 years ago?
Just about. Like,
No, that was like
a few
year.
months off
like
of 2
a little
years.
over a year ago.
That was-
No, it was.
Talking about when Bellamy first showed up.
Yeah.
That
That
was
was
not 2 years ago.
that was a year and like 2/3 ago, 3/4 ago. It was well into. It's almost 2 years.
Well,
Crazy.
Because I think the arc started in the manga in early 2013. And I think we got to Bellamy probably in like April, I'm guessing. So not quite 2 years, but
I thought you said the
Closing
you
in.
changed Bellamy thing happened 2 years ago. I'm like, no.
no, not that, but meeting Bellamy again.
You changed Bellamy. You're quite different from 2 years ago.
No.
Which actually makes sense because the time skip and all that.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, go ahead. That's
Anyway, back to the present. Luffy tells him not to push it. He's like, "Stay down, man. Don't get up." And back to another flashback.
Okay, you could lay down and cry.
He says, "What? Joker wants me to kill Straw Hat?" That was back a while earlier. And he says, "You get another chance. You're a lucky sap, Bellamy. A lucky sap." And then then we go back to your favorite. You can't
Well,
take this,
Steve,
Steve.
yeah, go
Take
to
this
Steve.
panel.
Well, it figures that you'd screw up the assassination. Plus, you're a waste of space, so I'm just supposed to finish you off.
But then he didn't.
No.
Back to the present.
Oh, God, don't pull a toy where we just replay the entire scene. Hi, I'm Bartolomeo. Remember me? I'm guest starring in this flashback.
And then Luffy goes, "Whoa, another huge rumble," which I'm assuming is what? Where does that rumble from? Does anyone guys know?
That castle's been taking a beating.
Is that it? Okay. And then back to another flashback where Doflamingo's like, "Must I spell this out for you? You and I have different aims in this world and always have." And Bellamy just didn't realize it, just as Steve has been pointing out for the past hour and a half. And
I never said anything about dreams being stupid. I'm impartial.
I am impartial on dreams.
Some dreams are stupid. Some dreams are not.
Didn't you see my campaign
You only
advertisement?
listen to the first part of that sentence.
I am steadfastly neutral on the subject of dreams.
You didn't listen to me. You just said Yahoo. Fucking telling me it's Jake Lloyd. Oh man.
Keep going.
And then back to Luffy, flashing back to him saying, "We're friends, Bellamy." And then we're back to the present for real this time, guys. We're not going back to another flashback.
Hey, my friend Bellamy. You there, my friend?
He says, "Hang on, I need you to wait here." He's like, "I'm worried about Traffy. Plus, Mingo and Treble or Snotty up there are with him, so he's in danger. I gotta help him. But don't worry, I'll sock Mingo good for you."
I didn't notice Snotty.
Like that. I like that.
I like that a lot.
Snotty,
Mingo and Snotty are up there. Let me go
Snotty
get
beat
him.
me twice last night, sir.
So Luffy's about to sock Mingo for him, and then he's like, "Wait, do you remember this move?" Boom! And then he bounces up into the air.
Yep. Oh wait, do I get to finish this off? I do. I haven't finished off a chapter in a while. Anyway, we get to see the Spring Hopper, everyone's favorite move of One Piece. But it's the main move we saw back in Jaya, sorry, which Bellamy used to try and defeat Luffy with little success. And Bellamy says, "Look, Luffy, you've gotten stronger, but so am I. The destructiveness of this is way worse." And Luffy's like, "Come on, what are you doing there? Come on, get down from there. Stop doing that.
Hey!
You're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt yourself.
Get down
Bellamy."
from there. I'm gonna count to 3.
before
Bellamy.
you break your neck.
You're gonna hurt yourself, Bellamy. Get down. Anyway.
Should at least mention that this is a gorgeous panel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
And actually,
man.
if you go back and look at the original scene, it's almost an exact recreation of the drawing that Oda did the first time in Jaya. Like same perspective and like looks exactly the same. It's really awesome.
I think it's awesome to see Luffy as a Jewish mother here. I'm all for that.
Get down from there.
Bellamy says, "Look, stop feeling. Don't care about me. I'm fine. Shut up." Look, I understood. I was an idiot. I didn't listen to the full sentences Doflamingo told me. I chose certain words I really liked and listened to those, and I'm regretting that now. I really should just have listened better. It's maybe I have some sort of thing where I can't listen well, and that's not exactly what he says, but it's pretty close. And look, I don't want to be the pathetic person, who's just going to lash out at the person who took me into the world, basically. If I'm going to be an idiot, I'm going to go through with being an idiot. I'm going to be an idiot to the end. I'm not going to make political references here, but, I mean, you could make them.
He's like a president of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. And he hurtles from wall to wall. He's like, look, I got to go through this. This is my final battle, Straw Hat, so indulge me.
That is so wizard, Bellamy.
And Luffy's like, no, come down from there. Come down.
No.
he doesn't say that.
We
If the
joked.
guys could see me now.
We joked about the scene a lot more than I thought we would, but
Really?
no, we really did. I did not think it was gonna go that way at all. Because when I first read this chapter, I was like, "Oh, poor Bellamy."
Yeah.
If
No,
I could start talking.
Yeah,
about
please, Steve. You're ready in it.
It's now I have more good reasons to like Bellamy now because I always kind of liked that character. He was one of my favorite villains for a while just because he was the he was the bully, he was the bully, and I always enjoyed his time in the show. I thought it served a great purpose. But everyone here thought, we were all calling it, that Bellamy was going to join Luffy's side and help defeat Doflamingo, the typical villain, now ally. And Bellamy was like, screw that. I don't like going with what's expected. And now it's a tragic tale. It's the tragic tale of Bellamy. He knows that Doflamingo was the wrong guy to follow. He knows that he is a bastard, but he's dedicated his, most of his life to, serving him, and he knows it's the wrong answer now. He knows he chose the wrong guy to follow, but instead of just looking, like an idiot or like a coward and just allying himself with the person opposing him, he's gonna stick to his guns, even though he knows it's wrong. And it's you got to give Bellamy some credit for having that kind of conviction. He's got a lot more heart than we thought, but
He's got something.
It still makes me pissed off. I'm like, God damn it, Bellamy! But there's one thing a Bellamy always keeps: his pride.
Oh God.
I'm not gonna shout. Don't worry.
Thank you.
Fucking Zach knows exactly. You could add the key aura happening when I say his
No,
pride.
I'm not doing that. Just go to Tsunami Arsenal and watch that clip or something. Anyway, yeah, Steven.
Is that a DBZ reference?
It was a DBZ reference.
Okay.
yes.
This is probably like the most Japanese thing that any character could do. Of the I know I'm wrong and I probably should stop, or I have the option of kind of aligning myself with the right side in this fight or something like that. But his pride prevents him from doing so, where he's like, I have to take responsibility for making a mistake and I have to continue to make that mistake, I guess. So yeah, that's it's interesting. It was not like Steve said. I was 100%. I was like, oh yeah, Bellamy's totally gonna, he's gonna help, strike back at Doflamingo. He's gonna get his revenge for the way that he'd been wronged or whatever. But I was not expecting this to happen. And it is kind of interesting because now I wonder, like, what happens next specifically? Because obviously Luffy is going to beat Bellamy. Bellamy is not going to beat Luffy, but like, what does that mean in the near term? Like, does Luffy just have to beat him and then he just runs up and then beats Doflamingo, or is it going to be one of those kind of classic shonen tropes where it's like Luffy has to beat Bellamy and he's so furious about it, he's like, you don't care about your teammates. It's like the thing that all like anime protagonists have to be super pissed off about is when the bad guys have infighting for some reason. And maybe that will give him
with
like
Captain Kuro.
Exactly. Like give him the righteous anger that leads him to victory or something. I don't know, but it's interesting, and I really like the parallels back to the Jaya as we were discussing.
I have a crackpot theory here, so indulge me.
Cool. I have one too.
Okay, fine. Go ahead, Steve.
Oh, well, I thought you should go first.
Okay, I'll go first. That doesn't matter. So what I kind of think is they were hinting at this chapter is kind of the structure of the palace is kind of going down. I wouldn't be surprised if Bellamy knocks down that floor and brings Doflamingo down to Luffy's level, maybe subconsciously on purpose, while, going down with a fight against Luffy, but bringing Doflamingo down, but really helping Luffy in the end.
And that whole
you totally took what I was saying.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing because the one panel, Luffy's like, whoa, another rumbling.
It is kind of out of nowhere.
The place is going to collapse, and either that's what's going to defeat Bellamy, or somehow he's going to accidentally help defeating Doflamingo. He's like, no, wait, I was supposed to. Oh.
I think it'll be an accidentally on
like, damn it,
purpose
Bellamy.
It's like,
Joey, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that with like Law taking a huge chunk off of it already, and with like the damage it's taking now, I could see possibly like a thing where the entire palace is going to crumble in a sort of symbolic fashion of like, this is the palace that Doflamingo has been ruling for years. Yeah.
Anything else about the chapter you want
to? Let's see. Well, let's see. We talked a lot about Law losing his arm. That was probably the most kind of surprising thing that happened. But then it does sort of make you immediately say like, but he could probably fix that.
Yeah. Or just grow it back.
I did expect him to go like, just kidding, and didn't actually do anything.
And just the arm all of a sudden is floating, just starts slapping Doflamingo.
All right, that would be fantastic.
Is Nortis a new location? Have we ever heard of this place before?
I've never heard of it.
No.
Well, it's in Greenwich, Connecticut. We know that. Right. And now we all know where that is, right, Jammer?
I know exactly. That's in Connecticut. And rich people.
Guys.
I was thinking too, just as we were talking about like the destruction of the palace and like just how stuff gets totally trashed in all of these major fights. Like I feel like with all the powers that exist in the world of One Piece, that like construction has to be a really huge industry there because it's just so easy for everything to get completely annihilated in all of these arcs.
And there's what's his name building all the doors, rebuilding all the doors. I really like the panel. Speaking of the destruction of what's going on, there's that great panel where Doflamingo's like floating, and you could really survey like what Dressrosa is going through behind him. Let's see, when he's before he chops Law's arm off on the spread before that, I think. Yeah. And I felt like that panel had a lot of impact.
Yeah. You could even see one of the spikes there of Pika's thing.
And the one other thing that I noticed when we were reading it too, which is kind of a cool detail, was that you can see just in that wide shot, you can see the far side of the bird cage, but the smoke actually like hovering above it is actually like obscuring it, so it's like inside. You can tell that some of it is inside and some of it is outside.
Yeah.
which is kind of neat.
Yeah. Jammer.
Yes. Steven brought up a good point that were basically my thoughts exactly. Like, what happens next with Bellamy is, in my opinion, going to kind of either retroactively make this awesome or make it frustrating. Because I want Bellamy to die. That would be so great if he died. He's not.
What?
If he's added to the short list of characters that actually dies in this series. Just because, I don't know, I feel like that'd be more meaningful if it actually happened. But I do like your theory about him knocking down that floor. And it looks like that hole up top is strategically placed for Luffy just to stand under as it collapses.
Oh, wow, yeah. That's true.
So, but I could see
How did that happen?
I could see it happening not as an accident, though, as him just saying, indulge me. And then he's going to try to fight him. He's like, wait, hold on. I'm almost done crashing it. Give me a second. But yeah, I think that'd be, either way, it could be either, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
I don't think the story really benefits much from Bellamy dying.
Yeah, I don't think it quite has enough impact. Like, it would have a lot of impact. I could see Luffy, like, reflecting on it later. But, like, it's maybe not quite as impactful as other characters dying.
Well, the other thing is,
If he died by Doflamingo's hand, I think
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Like, Bellamy might just be putting on an act here. He might be trying to help take down Doflamingo without making it too obvious to get the jump on him. But
That seems
it is
smart.
Bellamy, so I'm not
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess what I was sort of getting at was, like, if Bellamy dies, especially if he dies by Doflamingo's hand, that has a great impact for this story in particular. But then Luffy's going to take down Doflamingo, and it's different than when Ace and Whitebeard died, and that affected, like, the entirety of the series. Like,
Oh, yeah. I'm not.
changed.
Yeah, I'm not looking necessarily, just sort of thematically. I like that we are introduced this totally irredeemable character, hundreds and hundreds of chapters ago. He was a total asshole. And then now it's like we see him again. It's like, oh, there's hope for him. And then all of a sudden he's this. And I'm like, I kind of like the idea that even within this happy world, there's still these instances where, these characters, some are just going to do what they do, regardless of.
But the thing is, the whole theme, especially in the second half of One Piece that we've been having, meaning post-time skip, is Luffy bringing together, enemies. We saw it a lot in Impel Down. And I think it'd be pretty damn symbolic bringing Bellamy here. And I think what this is showing is the only way Bellamy's switching sides is if Doflamingo's defeated. If he's gone and if he's out of the picture.
Right.
And then Bellamy, I could see, not joining the Straw Hats, but joining the cause of the Straw Hats as an ally.
And then
After
he
cuts
totally
his thumb off.
and then he totally misunderstands Luffy's thing.
Oh, I thought you wanted to be king of the pizzas. I didn't hear pirates. Oh,
God,
such an idiot. Oh.
I thought you wanted to be Papaya King.
That is a New York joke.
I should also mention, I like one thing Oda did on one of the the jumping back and forth from flashback to present. The flashback scenes kind of frame the present because all these scenes that take place in the present are in the middle while the other scenes are on the side. It's a cool little framing thing Oda
Wait, say
did.
that one more time?
The flashback scenes, the gray tone ones, frame the scenes that are happening in the present.
Oh, you mean physically in the panels?
Yeah, go back the second to last page, the one before the spread, the one where it's like, hey, get up, you're not having your moment.
Right.
And all those present day scenes are kind of framed by flashbacks. It's kind of cool. I don't think it's intentional.
No, it might be.
Well,
it looks,
it's
especially
the
that one
rhythm
page. Yeah.
of like one flashback,
Yeah.
one present, one flashback. Well, no, but then it does two flashbacks. I think that,
But
is
it's like
intentional.
it frames the middle though.
Yeah, he's saying
Yeah.
each line of panels is like the thing is in the middle, and then the two on the
Yeah.
sides.
Yeah, well, yeah. I was saying that I think that was just a sort of happy accident. But now that I look at it and see that you do have two, like sequentially, two flashbacks, one after another, but that's because it's framing the middle row. I think that probably is intentional. It looks good.
Mm-hmm.
I think that covers it. It was kind of... Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Sorry. I just thought you were wrapping up, so I wanted to cut you off.
Okay. I was, so that's
was
good
it?
that you did. Go ahead.
No,
Oh, you want to cut me off? Thank you, Steve.
No, I actually have something I want to say.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Originally, when I started reading this chapter from the beginning, I thought I wasn't getting too excited for it, which because I thought, I think this is just going to be a fight chapter, and I was having these thoughts of sometimes I have to remember that not every chapter is going to have some big revealing thing. And it's weird now because now I'm older. Now I'm not so excited to read fight chapters. I'm like, a fight scene. I was hoping I thought they would reveal what Raftel is, you know. But it totally 180'd as soon as Law got his arm cut off, and then it was like, wow, that happened. And then the whole Bellamy thing went down, and the chapter really came around, and I thought we had the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I feel like this was like 2 mini chapters that we kind of got in this one, because we definitely had a Law Doflamingo centric first half of this chapter, where that was the conflict. It was Doflamingo's chance to be a douche, to Law more so. And then the second half is Luffy and Bellamy. It's mostly Bellamy's time to be an idiot. So it was an oddly, kind of organized chapter. I felt like this could have been 2 chapters or been part of 2 different chapters. But I'm not upset with anything that was done. It's just, that's, I think, my last thoughts on this. Jammer, what were we going to say?
It did oddly affect me. I was actually surprised with how much the Bellamy stuff actually moved me.
Yeah.
I was actually very surprised because surprising in that this has probably been the most, moving chapter, or at least the ending part, that I've seen in One Piece in a long time.
Really?
I'm serious.
We just
I'm not
came
even
out
kidding.
of a flashback. Those are some.
Yeah, the
bold bits.
flashback was dark and morbid, and it was interesting, but I felt this more.
What?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going there.
Okay, you
more.
and 2 other people.
I don't know. It still hit me.
I'm not saying it didn't hit. I'm just saying compared to what we just went through, I don't even think what we just went through was... Yes, it was morbid, but I think, the most emotionally impactful stuff wasn't,
If I can
morbid.
say this.
Yeah.
The flashback was a tragedy.
Yes.
Because, someone we cared about was murdered. This is a tragedy because someone knows they made a mistake, and they've admitted it, but now they have no choice. Like, you know what? I have to follow through. I have to see this to an end. I know I did wrong, but I have no other options because because my pride here. And to me, I feel like that's just as tragic because he has a choice. He has a choice, and he chose he chose to stick to his original decision to follow Doflamingo, and that's tragic because anyone else say just join Luffy, it would make it easier, but he's thinking about his pride, and that right there is sad.
And just the fact that we've known his character for so long, I think makes it, gives it an extra little something that it would not have otherwise. It wasn't like fully self-contained. It had all kinds of stuff happening in between it. It feels more like an actual character thing than like a self-contained flashback.
And Bellamy's been a whipping boy for quite a while now, so we were all expecting this right away from the moment Dellinger went after Bellamy. That we thought, okay, so now Bellamy's gonna turn to the side of good. He's gonna realize that Doflamingo is evil and he's flawed, and he'll learn from his mistakes and join the side of good. And he's not doing that.
Yeah, we were waiting for that relief of his redemption, and he's just going deeper.
Yeah.
Don't try to teach me anything.
And I think that is truly tragic, and I think that's just as sad as Corazon being shot. Okay, those are bold words, but it left.
I'm not saying it doesn't have emotional impact. I'm just saying comparatively, I don't agree that they're on the same level.
I think because also we were all expecting Corazon to be killed.
Yeah, that's also true.
No one was expecting Bellamy to say, joining you is what everyone would expect me to do. I can't do that.
Because I am an idiot. He's sticking up. Oh, no, you haven't seen 30 Rock.
No.
You have to stick up for idiots all around. Jammer, you've seen 30 Rock.
I love 30 Rock, but I don't remember what you're talking about.
When the idiots go on strike at 30 Rock.
Oh yeah.
Led by Tracy
yeah,
Morgan.
with I know what you're talking about.
We
But I don't know.
are idiots 2 and 3.
I just wish I could have beautifully described that
Yeah, I
whole
remember
thing a
that
little
now.
bit better, but I'm not good with words. So
Anyway, we have an interview with Marcus Stimac, voice of Dr. Hogback. Why don't we get into that? You guys ready?
Yeah.
sure.
Yo.
Hello, everyone. We have a special guest with us today, the voice of Dr. Hogback. We have Marcus Stimac with us. Hey, Marcus.
Hey guys, hey everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. It's great to have you on. I know you're a big One Piece fan, so I guess we should start out, how do you feel being part of the One Piece, well, not crew, but at least Gecko Moria's crew?
Yeah, the Thriller Bark,
Yeah.
the Mysterious Four. That's an incredible honor, dude. When I went to the auditions and I saw the characters, I was like, oh my gosh. Definitely some of the biggest characters I ever auditioned for. And when I got to see the first episode of Hogback coming out with my friends, it was just a really awesome moment to see myself and to see all the other great actors, like Sonny Strait and Chris Sabat and Colleen, and they're all doing their thing, and then like you're in there. And I've been a One Piece fan for so long; it was really a surreal moment. So.
You say you're a One Piece fan. When did you get into the series, and what brought you? What brought you into the series initially?
Well, I'm a big anime fan. I've been following anime for a long time, all the classics. But my little brother, he kind of got me into One Piece. I've always been studying animes. Like, I will go through the Wikipedia and I will read all the like iconic moments, man, and I will go back in and watch anime. And my brother was telling me this crazy stuff about Captain Buggy and Whitebeard and all these pirates, and I was like, that sounds really crazy. So I started watching it. I knew One Piece came out when I was young, but I wasn't. It was like the Four Kids, and it was on after school and stuff, and I wasn't really into it like 10 years ago. But then about like 6 years ago, I really got into the subtitled version. Watched all of that. I'm not into the manga so much, and I just started watching the dub this year when I started to work up at Funimation, and I got to know a lot of people who are working on it, so
Cool. Hi, Steve.
How long have you been doing the acting thing?
The acting, well, I've been in a lot of plays and stuff since I was young. All in high school and grade school, I did a lot of plays, and I do a lot of plays down here in Dallas. But voice acting, like for anime, this is my first year. I've been trying to get into Funimation for several years. I'm from Milwaukee, and I moved down to Dallas when I went to school down here. And a couple of years ago, I got to audition for an anime called Sengoku Basara. And I did not get in, and I did not hear back from Funimation for several years, and it took me a lot of effort to get back in. So once I got in, this is pretty much my first year playing characters in the anime.
Cool.
Perseverance.
With regard to Hogback, no, he's sort of a character that's known for having a very, distinctive and some would consider very grating voice in the original Japanese. And I think you've done a good job to, sort of, improvise upon that or sort of be inspired by that and sort of to adapt it to an American, what would sound annoying to us. But I think it's sort of an integral part of his character. I'm wondering how you dealt with that.
When I went to audition for Hogback, all on the sides, they have little notes about each character. I'd already seen the show, obviously. I wanted to do something similar to Hogback. But also, a thought in the back of my mind when I got the part was like, if people only watch the English dub, and this is their only understanding of One Piece, I did not want to ruin their only chance to experience Dr. Hogback, you know?
Yeah.
And like he is really high and really low, and he's like very passionate, and he's a genius, but he's like dark, and he has like nostalgic qualities, but he can be really hysterical and humorous, and it's all these things. So it's a lot of balls to keep in the air, and you want to match the enthusiasm of the other voice actors. People are doing such great voices, all on the Thriller Bark crew and all the main cast of One Piece. And, you know, like if you're in a scene with Ian Sinclair and some of those other really great actors, you got to turn up the heat. You want to give it full performance, you know? Mm-hmm. I have a lot of inspiration for the part, like working with Mike McFarlane, you know? And the drawing, just seeing how he moves and how wild and crazy he is, and all the nuance of the voice actor in Japanese switching high to low. I mean, all those things. It's just really challenging character, but it's the most fun I've ever had, too. So.
When you say back to the auditioning process for Hogback, what was your inspiration for your take on him? What did you conjure up in your head?
Oh man, well, first I was in Milwaukee helping my parents move out of the house that I lived in since I was a child, and basically I got a text from Funimation asking me to audition for new characters in One Piece. I had not played any real good characters at Funimation at all, and One Piece was my favorite show, but the auditions were just a day or two ahead. Like you get a notice, like it was on a Wednesday. They said come in on Friday, you know. And I could not reschedule, but nor could I fly down to audition. I was heartbroken. And like I was paying for all this stuff to keep my apartment, all the stuff in Dallas. And basically I could not buy a next day flight down there. And I told all my neighbors who I was like doing work for while I was up staying with my parents. And all these people told me I really had to go, and they all helped out my parents, and they bought me a ticket. I flew down. The next day, I knew I had to get a part, dude, at the audition. It was like, it would be so terrible to fly down and not get a part, you know? So when I went in, first I did Absalom. I thought he would be my bread and butter because, like, I got the lower voice, but it didn't work out at all. Then I tried Moria. Oh, man, I ate it. But my last chance was Hogback, dude. And I read the qualities he asked on the screen. He liked some of the things I did in my first read, but he asked me to add some qualities, like a grouchy, gremlin-y quality. And so, like, the foppish, the high, the low, the mad scientist, but then the grouchiness, I think that's what sealed the deal. I don't know. But that's what I conjured. The crazy.
The grouchy goblin scientist.
And he's foppish. He's like, you know, the foppish. And, you know, he's...
And he interacts with Sindri a lot.
He's the lover, dude. The passionate lover, dude.
Doesn't he look it? I mean...
He's suave, dude. And they have that episode where it goes back in time and they show him with all his hair, you know, and he's like living it up. That's so hilarious. Oh,
yes,
man.
very, very suave. Very suave.
Rico Hogback, that's the full name.
Way to impress the ladies. Like, I could bring back dead people.
Oh my god.
That is your hook.
I don't know. That's a pretty impressive thing.
Another question for you, Marcus.
Yeah.
Hogback's design is of course out of this world, but yeah, it's One Piece. I think we've come to expect that. But what do you personally think was Oda's inspiration for his design?
Oh, you got like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. You know, the whole island of Thriller Bark's kind of like the Nightmare Before Christmas theme, the Oogie Boogie Man, the Three Little Kids. There's so many. The Halloween theme, such strong design elements. But Ivankov, I would say, is more Rocky Horror Picture Show. But I would say like a cross between Danny DeVito as the Penguin, the Millennium Earl, and Rocky Horror Picture Show.
His face is very DeVito.
Yeah. When I looked at that chart, there's a chart of all like the real life influences of certain One Piece characters, you know?
Yeah.
And Yeah, like the Hugo Boss model is Paulie for some reason, But Danny DeVito, yeah, I don't know who the character inspiration is because that Japanese voice actor is really wonderful. Wonderful quality. The highs, the lows, the intensity. I Googled that dude to see what other anime characters he's played or whatever, to see like what kind of characters he plays. The only other thing he's done is play Mr. Bean in the Japanese dub. Mr. Bean. This dude, he's walking around going, oh.
I'm trying to picture Mr. Bean, but with the Hogback voice, and it's very disturbing.
I gotta find the dub of Bean so I can watch the scene with him flipping everybody off, giving him the finger from the car.
Oh, please tell me if you find that.
If I can find that in Japanese, that would be great.
That would be amazing.
Speaking of design, with regard to Hogback, what's your favorite of his designs, of his creations?
Well, the zombie generals. I mean, everyone loves the big oars or whatever, the big monster.
Yeah.
But one of my personal favorites is the zombie penguin trio, dude. Yeah. Because little sneak peek, I play one of the zombie penguin trio in the Walla, and but he's got, Perona's Wonder Guard, and those zombies look the most ferocious, really. I like the monkey, I don't know. It's more of a teamwork. Hogback is great, but it's Moria putting the spirits in that makes the real spirit of the strength of the fighters, So.
Definitely. So you seem to be pretty caught up on One Piece. Like, what are you up to? What are you really enjoying?
I'm up to I haven't seen the one that just came out subtitled, but the one before that, they're all in the Dump Flamingo fighting tournament. Like, it's the final battle between Sabo, Rebecca, Jesus Burgess, some Diamante in them, and Frankie's fighting everyone. He's fighting like 3 people in the factory. Usaland and them are breaking into the factory. That's what I'm caught up on right now. But what I really enjoy is when they get to like the story. I wish when they push towards like the New World alliances, some of the great supporting cast characters. Where's Crocodile? Where's Captain Buggy? Where's Bone Clay? Like when you talk about the big conspiracy theories in the next like couple of big wars. What's Kaido's devil fruit? Things like that. So like those are the things that are really interested to me. But yeah, I like this tournament. I like Don Quixote's family. It's pretty strong. But
I think we're all in agreement.
Part is that Water 7 Ennis lobby,
Oh yeah, that stuff's fantastic.
Yeah.
There's one other question I want to ask you about that, but I completely forgot it. Ed or Steve, do you have one? No?
Shall we do what we always do?
I guess we should do what we always do, which is up to Ed to do.
Sure. Whenever we have someone on the podcast for the first time, we like to ask the 10 questions from inside the actor's studio, because you are all actors after all, and it's
of course.
So play it as you like. But the first question is, what is your favorite word?
My favorite word. Well, I like chocolate. Chocolate.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I don't think we'd have them on this show. But
is that a
chocolate is a good word.
Yeah.
Question 2. What is your least favorite word?
Flarp.
So it's a good
appropriate
one. Yeah. No one likes a flarp.
I have no idea I don't have no idea what that is.
Exactly.
That's why it's so bad.
Question 3. What turns you on?
What turns me on? I like spanking and face sitting. If a chick's got a nice butt,
Yep.
Those are like my go-tos.
All right. What turns you off?
Bad smelling breath, or people who are pushy, ugly people. People who are ugly, dude, and smell bad.
What sound or noise do you love?
What sound of noise do I love? The sound of cooking, like the butter simmering in the pan, with the spices in there.
Right on.
And that one sound when they take commercial break for One Piece. Do 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 do.
What sound or noise do you hate?
The tow truck, dude. Every time I hear a tow truck, I run to the window of my apartment complex because I haven't paid this parking ticket and I know I'm going to get towed. But, like, dude, even if I hear the garbage truck, I will jump out of bed and run to the window. Here's the crazy thing. What am I going to do at my window if I see them towing it? Be like, stop. It's just like the visual proof is what I need.
Yeah. What is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
Good answer.
Yeah, always a good answer.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would like to be a professional coach of a sport of some fashion. That would be fun. Or I'd like to work for a game development company, like trading card games, video games. Like a game company would be cool.
Actually, I think there are a bunch of people at FUNimation who came from the trading card community, I think, as well.
Hey, I play the One Piece trading card game on my phone. I'm number 35 in the world, kicking butt.
So you know that existed.
Steve, do you play that?
It's called Fusion Pirates.
Never heard of Fusion Pirates.
Well, you will.
What profession would you not like to do?
I would not like to be a veterinarian, like cutting up animals or like stuff like that. Looking at sick animals and being like, "Oh, your dog is sick, dude." That would be messed up.
That's a glass half empty approach to that.
Dude, who's gonna? I saved your dog, but I still come home with the scars.
Yeah.
That's deep, man.
It is.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Oh, I'd like him to say, "Hey, Marcus, good job."
Cool.
Nice. And before we go, is there anything that you want to plug about yourself or anything that you're doing?
Steve, don't you have other questions for?
Yeah, we got one question in on Twitter.
Excellent.
Oh yes.
This one is from Joel McDonald, and he asks, "Please ask what you find sexiest about him."
Besides his casting? Oh my god. Well, I really love how he bums me cigarettes and how he always is looking out for me. Probably the sexiest thing about Joel is his talent. He's a very talented actor, director. He's good at building stuff. He's great at taking care of his house. He's a great guy, with his wife, new wife, all that stuff. Pretty much that's what it says. And he played Meow in Space Dandy. That's fucking sexy.
That's really sexy. I have to agree. Now, Ed, you could go ahead.
All right. So is there anything that you're doing right now that people can see or that you want to plug or talk to people about?
Wow. Thank you. Well, thank you for having me on the One Piece podcast. It's really awesome. I love it.
Anytime, yeah.
You have to have me back when I play someone else,
Yeah, I hope you do.
Got some parts coming out FUNimation right now. I'm playing Saito in the reboot of Ghost in the Shell. He's the Section 9 sniper. He's a very cool character. The next season of Magic Index, I'm playing the main bad guy in the Science City Invasion arc, Kihara Amata. I have a really, really big part in an anime coming out that FUNimation is doing that's very beautiful, incredible style, but I cannot tell you what it is. And I'm doing a play right now in Dallas. People can come see it, Love Labor's Lost, at the Wild Detectives Bar in Oak Cliff on the 7th of December. You can find out about that on the internet or whatever. Hit me up on Twitter at StimacD, or follow me on Facebook. At the end of the year, I may be hitting you guys up because I have some exciting news about something else. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope we get to hear you again in One Piece. It's been a lot of fun having you on tonight.
Well, if the Penguin Trio ever comes back,
well, if anyone's gonna come back,
which they won't.
Hogback has not come back in the New World, but they show Absalom doing that reporting, so maybe Hogback's gonna come back, because they escaped together. I don't know.
Well, it's One Piece. Everyone comes back at some point. So
I'm waiting for Bon Cray, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know.
I think
everybody.
Or
I just want to see everybody.
Character recently, but I didn't get it. So because they're getting to a really cool arc. They're getting to the Archipede Shibbolego or whatever. And
that's how I choose to pronounce that from now on. Thank you again, Marcus.
Hey man, you guys, thank you so much for having me on. How awesome!
Anytime.
Thanks, man.
All right, take care.
Take care. This is the Anime Recap for episode 672, The Last Light of Hope, The Secret of Our Commander. Before we get into things, I forgot to mention this, I think, but every single episode of One Piece is now on Crunchyroll. Like, every single one.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
it's a
pretty
huge
big deal.
accomplishment, yeah.
Also, I think we forgot to mention, now we get next episode previews.
We mentioned that last week, but it's still
Did we? Okay.
good to say.
Yeah. I was watching last week's episode and I got completely caught off guard. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I forgot
me too.
Things.
The thing is, I remember the episode preview last week made this episode look really awesome, and anyway,
it's okay episode.
It's okay. We start out, Usopp was knocked unconscious and Robin is tending to him, but in a whispering kind of voice. Meanwhile, Leo and the Tontatas have been captured by Treble's evil mucus thing.
Sticky stuff.
Mucus sticky stuff.
Sticky stickum.
Sticky stickum. That's actually what he used in the last episode. Anyway, they show some defiance, the Tontatas, they have a back and forth, and then Treble decides to throw his lighter in there, and kaboom. Am I skipping over anything important?
No.
Okay.
Very short recap, but then I realized they reused some footage.
Yeah, there was definitely some of that. And Usolend, or Usopp, obviously, holds Leo, who, in his dying breaths, that we all know he's not dying, but he's weak and he's just been kind of defeated there. And he's like, you have to do something, Usopp. And Usopp's like, yeah, we have to run. We have to get out of here. We head to Thunder Soldier and Laoji, and Thunder Soldier heads into a pretty decent-sized flashback that basically takes up most of the episode. And we get a lot of rehash. I mean, we get it. It was fake. The newspaper, everyone was...
We see the anime debut of Buster and Jacob, the guys who miss at high fives.
Oh, right. Proud about that.
I forgot about them too, and then I saw the episode. I'm like, holy shit, we gave names to these guys. I had to check thank God I had a Tumblr post that listed a bunch of character names. Otherwise, I wouldn't remember.
So yeah, the anime debut of Buster and Jacob, was it all you thought it would be, Steve?
Pretty stiff. They hardly moved.
Yeah, that sounds about right. We also see CP0 with their Aegis boat. The Aegis boat.
They're such a secret organization that they sail on a boat that describes who they are on the freaking sail.
They're pretty much. It's like, well, the CIA has a Twitter account, so I mean, it's the same kind of thing, right? Anyway, we see the Tontatas reacting to it. We also saw Doflamingo just laughing after the phone call. I have a secret plan.
Neck. Yeah, that was pretty much the equivalent of that.
Yep. We also see Rebecca and Thunder Soldier having an argument over whether she should fight, and she's like, "You're not my dad. You can't tell me what to do." And
he's like, "You know what? You're right.
I'm leaving. Okay, fine, bye." Rebecca tries to apologize, though, as the soldier's leaving, but it's of no avail. And then we head back to the present as Lao Ji prepares to really just put the finishing blows onto the soldier, but the ground is shaking. It's Pika. His powers are affecting even this area near the elevator. So Cub and some other Tontada I forgot the name of get the soldier out of the way. Meanwhile, 3 other Tontadas I don't know the name of tackle Lao Ji somehow successfully. Don't really get how that works.
They're Tontadas, man. They're strong.
That's true. Leo explains to Usopp, meanwhile. Steve, this was a touching moment, right?
Yeah, this like Usopp's kind of being dickish here. It's like, why do you care so much about that soldier? what's so great about him?
Yeah, and they explain what happens.
Well, he's the only toy that isn't bound by the contract. He serves as an inspiration to toys, to fight the man or
he's the only
the
one
little
who
girl.
can, because there was no contract with him.
But he's also a pretty good fighter. You could say he's stuff of legend. That's because he is that statue. Well, he's not the statue; he's the real guy. The statue that's based off of. He is the legendary gladiator, Kyros.
Yeah, we saw the statue earlier, and Rebecca said, "That guy's not real. You're not my dad."
He's probably just made up. That's when just, even though you can't see emotion change on Soldier's face, he's just like,
oh.
You know what? Fine. You're right. We also kind of glossed over Rebecca fighting Diamante. Diamante's like,
oh yeah.
It's like, Soldier never told you what happened to your mother.
Okay.
I can't quote the rest of that line because it's kind of spoilers.
Yeah, so I think that's and then next time we see Gladius looks like he's pumping his arms up. And is that Doflamingo?
He's gonna pump you up.
And is that Doflamingo? We'll find out on the next episode of Dragon Ball Z. I mean One Piece.
What?
And that might be the shortest recap of anything we've ever done.
You really cut the meat right off the bone on that one. Just got right
Not
to
a lot happened. It wasn't a bad episode, but what? Did I miss anything big?
It's like everything was kind of just like the Coliseum. Nothing really happened. Just Diamante was like, "Oh hey, you fight with a blunt sword. That's stupid. Hear what happened to your mother?" And we won't get the rest of that for this episode. A lot of Tontada business. And then we find out who Soldier really is and why he's a big deal.
Yeah, and he is a big deal. And we'll find out more about that next time on Dragon Ball Z. No music this time?
It's called One Piece, Zach. No, it's called Dragon Ball
on a boat.
Get it right.
It's pretty similar. They're basically the same show. Why don't we get into the Piece Together segment? Are you ready, Steve?
Let's.
This is the Piece Together segment where we take your questions, comments, theories, and one arm. Why don't we get into the questions here? Let's start with emails. The first one comes from Ryan. I have a guess as to how the confrontation between Luffy and Bellamy will turn out. It's a little bit different than what we were talking about. We all know that Bellamy is critically injured, and many of the characters have stated several times that taking another strong hit would probably be fatal for him. For this reason, I get the feeling that Luffy is going to end up utilizing Conqueror's Haki in order to knock him out so that he could avoid having to kill his new friend.
How embarrassing for Bellamy.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm stronger. He doesn't do anything. He just falls to the ground. That's even worse.
This is my last stand, and then I fell asleep or something. I don't know what happened.
Oh man, this last stand's taking a lot out of me.
Next email comes from Ben Wild, who, as he puts it, has a wild theory. What if Raftel is an island that moves or never appears in the same place twice? Wouldn't that make it really hard to find? Also, helps explain why the Navy can't just go there by crossing the Calm Belt. Love the podcast and can't wait for Ian Sinclair. Also, Dish put Cartoon Network back on the air. And yes, the ratings have been much better for One Piece. So, yeah, what do you guys think about Raftel moving places?
It could be like that island from Pirates of the Caribbean.
I haven't seen Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well, the one where it's like you can't go there unless you already know where it is. And
like Hogwarts or something.
Is that how that works? I have also.
And I know that
a wall in the train station.
And Jack Sparrow basically had a compass that led there, so he pretty much had a log pose. Same thing. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Jeez, sure. I'm surprised none of you guys have seen that movie.
I'm surprised you don't know where Greenwich, Connecticut is, Jammer. This is probably one of my favorite that came in this week is from Oliver J. He said, this has probably been brought up already, but I'll mention it. It hasn't been. Lord Nelson had only one arm when he commanded the English fleet at the Battle of Trafalgar, having lost the other one in a previous battle. Might be a coincidence, but I doubt it. Also, it was nice to see Doflamingo's special family trader shooting gun again this week. Steven, you looked it up. It's not the same gun, right? Unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But it was the same gun he used.
Is it like a completely different shape, or is it just like different color? By color, I mean shades of black.
Well, I looked up the scene where Doflamingo shoots Law outside of the Colosseum in the present day, and that is the same gun that we see in the fight now. But I'm looking.
It was the same day. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm looking at the flashback chapter, the last one in the flashback where Doflamingo, you see him shooting his dad in the beginning and then at the end, and it's hard to see because he doesn't do any close-ups on Doflamingo's gun, but it does not look the same to me.
Guys.
It looks like a light wood grain type gun, not the black-barreled one that he has now.
But what do you think about the parallels to the Battle of Trafalgar?
That's an interesting point. I did not know that. So that is interesting, and I guess that you could construe that as perhaps an extra point on the side of maybe Law's disfigurement being permanent. So yeah, I don't know. I still I have not really made my peace with what I think is going to happen with that. So I have no idea where that's going.
Relearning history through the One Piece podcast.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thank you, Oliver. This one comes from Andy Yoho. He says, "Hey, Suicide of All Anime podcast crew." I forgot about that one.
We are.
That was what was it? Someone called One Piece the Suicide of All Anime. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
That was Strong World.
Oh, that was Strong World. Right.
Yes, because after I just watched an anime with girls with just boobs everywhere wrestling. Yes, One Piece is when I say, you know what, this can't take this shit anymore.
I did forget to mention, if you want to check out Steve talking about that.
I'll mention at the end.
It's on the Ass Backwards Anime Podcast. Is all I'm saying. Anyway,
SSApodcast.com.
Andy Yoho says
/www. Sorry.
First, a follow-up to last week's episodes pieced together concerning whether Doflamingo will die. One Piece has taught me that the greatest payback for a villain is not death, but Luffy punching him or her in the face. Is a good point there. And right now, Bellamy is a great example. And right now, I can think of no one in the series more deserving of an amazing space-time warping punch in the face than Doflamingo. Next, we all know the heart-wrenching moments of One Piece that can make us tear up. But who said that tear-jerkers could only come from sad moments? Sometimes the triumphant moments, like Robin's I Want to Live at Ennius Lobby, stand out. What are the victorious, triumphant moments that you found emotional in this series? That's a good question.
March on Arlong Park.
Yeah.
Did
it make you tear up a little? The March on
fuck yeah, it did.
Okay. The shooting the fire, the Sakura stuff at the top of Drum.
Oh yeah,
as they're leaving. That's a good one.
Oh, Luffy holding up Chopper's flag was also big for me. Mm-hmm. I love the visual in the manga, especially. Yeah.
I think Luffy finally defeating Crocodile with the music and everything. Yeah.
Not so much like I was crying, but it hits a chord for sure.
Yeah. It's like, this is
feel
fantastic.
just as relieved.
Yeah.
That was a trial.
Yeah, that took a long time, especially in the anime.
Is the moment after Luffy's flashback where he says that he wants to be back with his friends, or?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a sad. It's that
emotional
sort of
victory.
mixture of sad and it's not a triumph. It's not a triumph so much as
It's an emotional triumph.
It's very cathartic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the moment where he rings the bell in Skypiea.
Yeah.
That's another big one.
Okay, next one comes from Duperco. Hey, One Piece podcast. I submitted my Law's crew is dead theory before, but it came off as a bit too crazy. So now I think there might be more suggestions that it might be true. Anyway, have you ever seen a captain in One Piece be so utterly dismissive of their own crew's feeling? Law has no regards for his own life right now and doesn't even care enough to give a goodbye message to his crew when he had the perfect chance to send it along with Sanji. Maybe there is no crew left to say goodbye to. Law hasn't confirmed that they are alive by saying, well, we did see the paw print. I'm going to interrupt his theory, sorry. We saw the paw print from Beppo on that map. Anyway, I'll continue. Law hasn't confirmed that they are alive by saying they are waiting to meet back up with him or something like that. All he said is that they are on Zoe, so it could be that their graves are there. Wow, this is more... Lastly, I believe Law's flashback is an unprecedented amount of development for a non-future Straw Hat. His mom did die after all. So having Law's crew be dead would make him available to join.
Yeah, that's pretty morbid. It was also mean like Law is just a very pessimistic person. Head to Zoe, my crew is there. When you get there, tell them I'm already dead. That's probably gonna happen.
Tell the graves I'm already
Yeah,
dead.
he's like, leave flowers on their grave.
No, I'm in a ton of pain. I think my arm's gonna get cut off.
I mean, to be honest, Law would
Shot.
be that guy. If anyone in
Yeah.
the series, Law would.
I mean,
fit
I think he does have a point that we see Law go through all of this. He goes through some measure of soul searching in this arc. Like just we were talking about with the chapter where he had a big plan first, and then he was like, no, fuck it, I'm just going to do this myself. And that was sort of like it was like half he wanted to satisfy his own desire for revenge, and it was half like, I got to, I know this is going to take me out too. And, we definitely don't see any kind of like internal struggle on his part of like how he feels about his crew specifically, which is, it does kind of say something about him. I don't know if that's intentional on Oda's part, or if that was just an oversight, but I think it's worth bringing up.
Final email we have is from Braden Hunt, who says, "Hey guys, hopefully not sending this too late. You haven't. It's very recently though. This week there was a sparkle in my eye. I thought my hopes and dreams had finally come true. That when we begin a flashback for Bellamy. Thankfully, my prayers were indeed answered when the flashback ended on the next page. Truly a happy day." Going off of that, though, this has definitely been asked, but now with two huge flashbacks, Law and Doflamingo, I thought he was going to say Law and Bellamy, over with, who are some characters whose flashback you most want to see come next? I'm pretty flashbacked out at the moment.
Yeah, I have to say.
Sorry to...
Kinemon and Kanjuro.
Yes, that would actually be the next one I want.
I mean,
Yeah.
not like next chapter, but like that's probably the next one I'd want to see.
Would it be great if that was the next chapter? Just for no reason.
They're sitting on top of that hill and they're like, "So,
Yeah.
tell me, what brings you to Dressrosa?"
Usopp is asking.
Beppo though.
Okay, let's go to One Piece
Seriously,
Reddit.
Beppo.
Yeah.
What is he?
Well, we have some questions about that on Reddit, so actually let's ask that one first. That one comes from Typeset. Does Beppo hibernate? Truly an important question.
Do poets?
He's like,
I guess
he's a white bear, so he might be Arctic.
the follow-up would be like, does he just hibernate whenever they pass by one of the really wintry islands, like just every 6 weeks or whenever?
That's adorable.
I don't think he does. I think it's the polar bear thing. I think he's close.
I can imagine being pretty funny though, like being used, like they're in a ship, like you said, going by an iceberg, and he's just like, "Oh, I'm sleepy," and he goes inside.
Yeah,
I'm sad we haven't seen much of Beppo. That's a character. Him and Shachi and Penguin, because Penguin loves Shachi. I'd like to see more of that crew. They were a lot of fun for the little we did get to see them before the time skip. Yeah, I'd like to see more of them. Restipi says, do you think Fujitora can predict the future, or at least just the immediate future? He seems to have predicted that Law and Doflamingo fight would move over to Dressrosa when they were fighting on the Sunny, and this might also explain why he stopped doing anything, because he might have already foreseen Doflamingo being beaten. I think he just is pretty knowledgeable about how things work.
Just because he's blind doesn't mean that he can see into the future.
He's a fortune teller.
Yeah, we already have Violet. I don't think we need. Oh,
I mean, he's a soothsayer.
He's just he has like he's sort of like the old blind guy who you feel the storm coming in your bones. He just has like plot arthritis or something. He's just like, I can feel. Oh, that fight's gonna be over soon.
That's what the Sixth Sense
Oh,
is.
here comes the rising action.
I feel the character arc coming to a close.
I love that. That's fantastic. Stoked Shore says from the phrase Bellamy said, fools have their own foolish way of doing things. Or whatever it was. There might be a 50-50 chance that he wants Luffy to join him in a final attack on Doflamingo, or Bellamy is an idiot and still wants to fight Luffy. What are your thoughts? We kind of talked about that, the different outcomes. And anyone have any more points?
I think that if that was like, it was sort of like, so you remember when Law and Luffy did the thing where like they did the sneak attack on Doflamingo right at the start of this fight, where he was like talking about something, but he was actually talking to Luffy, or he was giving him the signal or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like if Bellamy was doing that kind of thing, like given that his whole speech was about how this was about keeping up his pride and stuff, like the idea of that being an excuse for him to actually strike back at the guy would be just like the absolute opposite, like such a polar dynamic of like he has no pride whatsoever. That would be kind of weird.
Law Trafalgar 02, who's probably disappointed this week, asks, how do you think Luffy will handle Bellamy? Will he just beat him up or kill him? Will we see Conqueror's Hockey again? Is a prediction. And I guess that's the same kind of line. There's nothing really more to say there, right? Unless anyone has anything. Okay. There's really just a lot of Bellamy. I'm going to go to the next non-Bellamy
People
question.
really don't want to see Luffy punch Bellamy.
Yeah, I think it's the opposite of what we got last time.
Yeah.
It's like, what if he just does punch him, though?
I don't
That
know.
would
It
be a
doesn't seem
letdown,
like
too.
that would. It doesn't seem like that would be the right. Although I could see him saying like, "You've chosen to fight me, and so to honor you, I will punch you." And I don't know.
What would be great is if Bellamy does the thing, he collapses, and it looks like Luffy's punching it, but Luffy's actually punching the ground, and the ground collapses. Anyway.
Or you
what
could-
if-
There's a birthday cake under there.
Yeah.
Or Bellamy beats Luffy, and then nothing happens up top, and Doflamingo just gets killed.
That's the end of this. That's the end of the series.
or Luffy just jumps through the hole in the ceiling, and Bellamy's just like smacking himself against the walls. It's like, come on, fight me, man!
I can't stop.
Suvless Sunstar says, hey, One Piece Podcast, I just have two questions for you. First, I'm wondering if you read anything else in the English Weekly Shonen Jump. He only reads One Piece and Toriko. Do you guys read anything else? And we've talked about this. It's just been a little while, and we have different people on.
I read most of it. There's a few series that I skip, but I read most of it. I don't know. Toriko's been fun lately. One Punch Man's good. I really love the Jumpstart program that they've started. Even when I don't really like the series that they're running, or I like that we get to see some stuff that's new.
Jammer or Steven?
Oh, I read everything except for the Yu-Gi-Oh! One. Although
That's
most
the
of
right
it,
answer.
most of it, like when Naruto was still running and with Bleach, like, I would read them, but it was literally just like the information was going through my brain.
Yeah.
Without.
I tried reading Bleach
That's how I
when
read Bleach.
when the Shonen Jump Alpha started. I was like, I'm gonna read everything, and Bleach I couldn't make sense of because I'd read maybe the first few volumes and I just couldn't.
Right.
And I imagine Naruto would have been the same, except for I had been keeping up with that. So I don't know.
Any other? The second question is and second, are there any good podcasts that any of you would recommend listening to on a regular basis? Let me read off what I'm listening to right now. So it changes every time this question's asked. Wait, Don't Tell Me is one Ed and I have been Ed introduced me to, and it's a really cool quiz show for current events kind of thing. The One Piece podcast. Harmontown I've been listening to a lot more recently, which is I think a little more hit or miss, but when it hits, it's very, very funny. The Way Back podcast, which Steve, you said you talked to Matt recently. Do you know when that's coming back?
Don't know whenever they get the time, but I loved Way Back. I thought that was awesome.
It's still available, and I think it's going to come back soon or at some point. So check that out from Matt Cohen, friend of the show. Radio Lab, Shonen Jump podcast, Star Talk from Neil deGrasse Tyson. There's a lot more. People have been yelling at me to watch Serial. I'll see if I do. Anyone else here?
Screen Rant Underground is a good movie podcast that I love to listen to. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just opening up my phone right now. I listen to the Smodco podcasts. Those are pretty good, like Smodcast and Education and all that stuff. Those are fun. The Joe Rogan Experience. It's another great one. Yeah.
I forgot to mention Nortis, but I think I've mentioned that before. Anyone else listen to podcasts? Have other ones?
I listen to a lot of podcasts because I spend a lot of time drawing or coloring comics, and I listen to a lot of shows from the Maximum Fun network of shows. My favorite amongst those is probably My Brother and Me. That's like a comedic advice show. Let's see. I listen to a lot of stuff. Anime and manga wise, I like the ANN cast. They get a lot of good guests and stuff. And that's one that you can kind of pick and choose. Like, I don't listen to every episode, but I listen to most of them, and it's kind of fun. That was one that when I discovered it, it went through the archives and found episodes that, Yeah,
they started around when we started, so. We were on one of them way back.
Yeah. I listened to that one. There's this amazing. If you want something short, if you like music, there's this show called Song Exploder, where they analyze. They have a musician come on and talk about a song that they've written, and they play all the different stems, like all the different parts of the song.
Is that the thing by Rishikesh?
Yes.
Yeah. I've heard that too. That's really cool.
So that's just a sampling of some of the stuff I listen to.
And I have to mention the Animanga Podcast, Pillow Talk, and Shooting the Shit. So yeah, listen to those three. I have them.
And the Ass Backwards Anime Podcast, and there's a lot of good friends that we have that podcast, obviously, since we're in the community. And if we didn't mention,
the AWO.
AWA,
the Anime World Order. That's a good one.
And Daryl actually wrote a whole article about Film Z for Otaku USA, which was very praiseworthy too. So, a lot of stuff he has said on this podcast, like his distaste for Blackbeard, for example. So you could check that out. If hopefully we'll have Daryl on again in the near future to talk some One Piece with us. Anything else, Steven? Podcast-wise?
I listen to too many wrestling podcasts that no one will care about right now, so I won't even mention them.
I'll just throw an extra recommendation for the Shonen Jump podcast, which like the sound quality is often kind of weird because they just stick a microphone in a room, and there's always
and sometimes a restaurant.
Yeah, at a restaurant and stuff like that. But I think like the more you listen to it and the more you grow to understand like the different personalities of the people that work on Shonen Jump, it gets really, really funny. They have really, really funny like banter and bickering.
The episode a couple of weeks ago where like they were rating.
Yeah.
How professional they were.
So pro and no pro.
So pro and no pro. And good pro.
You get a lot of interesting behind the scenes. Like they'll they're more forthcoming than I would think a lot of the times, talking about what goes in decisions about licensing, and then they occasionally have like interviews with Japanese guests and stuff that are interesting.
And Steve and I have hung out and had meals with like Alexi and John Bay and Hope and a lot more. And I got to meet Andy briefly at New York Comic Con this year, and they're all really, really funny people, and they all are exactly like what they sound like on that show. So it's a lot of fun. That one I definitely recommend. Moving on, Hodgem says, "Hey guys, love the podcast. I was wondering what the funniest joke Zach ever told was." And remember, I edit this, so be careful on how you answer.
It was the pizza one he just said not too long ago.
Yeah,
that was your peak.
I have something. I have a funny joke.
Oh no,
from Zach. Sorry, I'm gonna bury certain Japanese musicians here, but I thought it was too damn funny. It's when we were watching Jam Project perform, and I think they were just going through the rest of the band, like the guys who put guitar and drums, all that, and they pointed out one of the guitarists, and I forget which one of the performers was, said like, "Oh, he's the youngest member of the group," and Zach turned to me and said, "Yeah, he's 43." I could not stop laughing.
I forgot about that.
That is the funniest joke Zach has ever said. Zach can make me laugh. I just like to make fun of him. When I try, I have very bad humor. But when I don't try, I'm a lot better.
You can't win them all, but we will not remember Zach as the guy who doesn't go for the joke.
I'm much like Bellamy when it comes to humor. I know I don't have it right, but I'm gonna go all the fucking way and do it.
You finish the joke,
and at the end you'll be crying one way or the other,
just shaking my head.
And someone will be like, "Zach, stop it! You're gonna get yourself hurt." Anyway. That was a good example right there. Sakata Kentucky says, I guess this is for Steven. So, Steven, who do we have to beg for Viz to consider translating the digital color comics?
Ooh, the colored ones.
Not you, right, Steven? We don't have to beg you.
No, you don't have to beg me. Okay. I don't know if it's... I guess, just mentioning it on their survey, their issue surveys, and maybe like in there, or bringing it up in their the comments on the issues and stuff like that. Ultimately, it's something that they decide higher up. I don't know if that's something that that could very well be a thing where it's like, there are very strong reasons why we won't do it now, or ever, or, just this is not the right time. And, no amount of support is necessarily going to change their minds. I honestly don't know. It would be cool to see that eventually in some form, because, from what I've seen, they're very competently done. But I don't know. I wouldn't hold my breath.
I'm personally the dream publication from Viz are hardcover, fully colored, re-edited by Steven, who would presumably be getting paid lots and lots of money for this. And just like a really nice, well-bound color version of One Piece, kind of omnibus editions, I guess kind of what they're doing with JoJo's earlier stuff. I think those are going to be hardcover, or even what they're doing with Monster if it's not in hardcover, just like a really nice looking edition of the series. But I don't think that's going to happen. Or Dragon Ball Z.
I would prefer the sort of perfect edition version where you get the black and white pages that were originally black and white, and the color pages you do get reprinted in color that were colored by Oda by hand.
That's the thing is, I think they're well done. I think the digital color ones are well done. They're much better than I would expect. But I'd still, if I was going to see a colored image of One Piece, I would want to see it colored by Oda with his, his sense of coloring.
Yeah. Okay, next one. The last one on Reddit comes from Scarred Tiger. Petition to change Law's nickname from Mr. Potato Sack to Mrs. Nesbit. Do you get that? I don't get that at all. I was hoping someone got that.
Wait,
Oh,
It
restate
sounds.
that?
Oh wait! Oh my
I
god!
know where it's from, but restate it
It's-
again.
Petition to change Law's nickname from Mr. Potato Sack to Mrs.
It's from
Nesbitt.
Toy Story.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's why I don't get it.
It's when his,
Don't you
his-
see the hat?
Yeah.
I'm Mrs. Nesbitt.
Or you're saving the world from danger, saving the universe from danger, and then I'm sucking down Darjeeling with the other ladies at the tea table.
Wait, when was he called Mr. Potato Sack?
Maybe
When
when
he was being dragged around.
yeah,
I
on the
always
back of
called it
Moosey.
Ragdoll Law.
All right, so who wants to do, the thing?
Oh yeah,
that we
he's
do?
Mrs. Nesbitt because he doesn't have an arm anymore.
All right, Steve, do you want to? It's everyone's favorite segment. Do you want to try in?
Peace the tweet. Yeah,
All right, that was a good one.
I tried.
First one, and I'm not kidding, Steve, comes from Bone Storm.
Nice.
Do you think it's?
Railho.
Do you think it's?
Shut up, Mom.
Did we just make a reference to that last week? Do you think it's possible that the 5 Elder Stars are immortal due to the former op for users of past decades? Wow, that is a convoluted theory.
That's
Yeah. I heard a
That's
theory recently that the movie The Shining was actually Stanley Kubrick talking about the moon landing. I think this is a crazier theory than that.
Yeah.
We need a
there's a
documentary
lot
about
of
all
those.
these fans.
Yeah. Was it Room 314 or 341 or whatever it is?
The documentary?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it was
there's
The Shining Code or something.
I mean, no, there's another movie. It was actually theatrically.
The Da
released.
Vinci Code. Okay.
That was it. I think that was it.
The Bible Code. Skeleton Knight says, what kind of island would you like to see most in the One Piece world? Not a specific island like Raftel, but a theme. We've done this question a lot, but Joey and Jammer, I don't know if you've had a Joey Jam. If you had a chance to.
What the
Let's see. What have we not seen?
I'm sorry, I'm starving and losing my mind.
why you should always eat before your podcast.
Thank you, Mom.
Pizza Island.
Nice.
You're in the right place in my mind.
I can't think on my feet, but
Okay,
a,
then we'll go to the next
Jetsons island. That's right.
one. Really?
It's like the
Yeah.
Jetsons world.
That's always my answer. Is I want to see a sci-fi arc or island.
Yeah.
It's all super futuristic. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
I'd like to see one where it's like kind of like an island, but it's in the sky on like clouds.
I was trying to avoid that.
Like the Jetsons?
Oh, like Skypea.
Like Cloud City.
Yeah.
Anyway, Gabby says, do you think Law will be able to reattach his arm? I guess we should do a vote here. Joey, do you think yes or no? Will he be able to reattach?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Steven?
Yeah.
And Jammer?
Yes, but I hope he can't move it.
I hope it's
It's so specific.
It's reattached backwards.
Shit, it's on the wrong way and on the wrong side. That's a Futurama joke. Sorry.
I mean, if he could save a bunch of kids from dying, I'm sure he could reattach his arm.
Steve.
Wasn't that a Star Wars thing too? Like when they put C-3PO's arms on
Yeah,
backwards?
yeah.
Chewie does it.
Oh, they should have Law strapped to the back of Luffy as he's walking around in all of his different parts. Like Star Wars. Never mind.
Next question comes from One Piece Who. What One Piece merchandise would you like to see localized the most? Printed items like the quiz books count in his question. I personally would love to see the data books.
I was just complaining about this on Twitter since my local bookstore closed, but I would love to see them bring the calendars, the manga calendars here, where you could just buy them in any bookstore, so I don't have to order them from online because they're really nice.
Good choice.
More color walks.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how well how did it sell? Do you know? Do we know?
I have no idea, but they haven't put out any other ones, so
So probably not
tell you
well
something.
enough. Yeah.
Huntress fan says, do you think Leo's So Stitch Devil Fruit will play any hand here? Isn't he busy doing his own thing, though? I mean, we kind of talked about this, but...
Yeah,
I like
that's
what Steven suggested.
Yeah, that suggestion would be like after the fight is over, most likely. But I don't know. I mean, Greg was actually mentioning this to me. We were having a discussion about like ways in which Doflamingo could, it may not just be Luffy versus Doflamingo and who could play a part. And he was pointing out that all these different characters are like there's been an ongoing theme of like the number of years that you've had a grudge against so and so. We had there was the gag thing with like Cavendish and Luffy and the other guys, but the Tentatas as well. They have like a whatever it was 700 year enslavement at the hands or whatever it was. When Doflamingo came and they've been enslaved. And so they have that grudge against him too. And so he was suggesting maybe that means that Leo / the other Tentatas could play a part in the bringing down of Doflamingo. I don't know if that's likely to happen, but that would be an interesting thing. And so yeah, I would guess that if Leo does fix Law, it'll maybe be just after the fight.
I really
yeah, go ahead.
I just really like Leo's powers, and I feel like it hasn't been used. Like it was an interesting power, but like Leo's powers are really interesting, and it piqued my interest. But then I feel like he has not been used much at all, especially with his powers. And it would be nice, especially since Oda can often think of like creative ways to use powers that you wouldn't think of. I really would like to see him do something like that with Leo.
Yeah. Oda's got a lot of plate spinning. It's hard to keep straight.
It's true.
Keep them doing what they're doing.
This is just two more questions. What asks, is Law's arm being sawed off a sign of Oda taking a bit of a more mature route with One Piece?
May I bring this up?
No.
So when you say Chapter 1 was setting a mature route for One Piece,
But we saw the arm here.
when Shanks got his arm bitten off,
And it was bloody and...
But we saw the arm here.
Anyway, that's a great segue into the final question. I know this is late, but this is set up to...
well, you want to know why we didn't? Want to know why we saw the arm here? Because Doflamingo didn't immediately gobble it up.
Oh my God! How
tastes so good, Law.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, save me a piece. No. It's him gnawing on an arm.
R.L. Smith asked the last question, is this a setup to Luffy getting disillusioned with Shanks in the future? I don't really see how... I don't see the connection.
He's like, other people can only have one arm. I guess Shanks isn't that cool.
maybe that's what it was. All right, I think that rounds us off for the Piece Together segment. You guys ready to finish off the podcast?
Okay,
Yes.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the unofficial One Piece podcast, episode 348 for Monday, December 1st, 2014. Good show today, you guys. Good chapter. I'm shocked about how long we have talked about this chapter and in depth and how much interest it's garnered. There's a lot of stuff going on. I just want to go through our schedule over the next, I'm going to say, month. Next week we will be doing a clip show, but it's going to be going over like some of the biggest highlights of the One Piece podcast over the last 5 years, and that's Greg's adventure. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I don't know how long it's going to be, but we'll find out. I might split it into 2 parts. That's going to be next week. The week after is going to be our season finale, meaning it's going to be the last episode of 2014. This is what we're going to be doing. We're going to have a manga recap. We're going to have an interview with Joel McDonald and Ian Sinclair. We're going to have a full 90-minute panel with Joel McDonald and Ian Sinclair with cameos from someone who might also be here. We'll find out. I don't know. And we will also have a top 5 of 2014. And Steven, you also have something special we'll be going through next week. Or in 2 weeks, sorry, on December 15th.
Yeah, well, I will finally give my my review of Grand Battle X, the 3DS game, which I've been playing. So look forward to that.
And Steven, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Translatosaurus, and I figure I will take advantage of the blurb thing to start doing this now. I usually check ANN every other day or so, and every week they put up a here's what's out this week in manga. And since I never actually pay attention to when my books come out, because I always translate them like 6 months before they're out, I've been keeping tabs on what I have that is just in bookstores now. And I think last week, the second volume of XXX Holic Ray, that is not a sexy series. It just has 3 X's in it.
I don't think you're supposed to pronounce the X's.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't know if anyone calls it Holic or if
I think all the cool kids do.
All the cool kids do,
The cool kids do. That's true.
I think when people say like, "Oh, Hunter X Hunter," and I'm like, or I like Hunter by Hunter, Hunter times Hunter.
And then the week before, there was a couple of things. Yeah, the second volume of the Gyurara Yellow Scarves manga, volume 23 of Soul Eater, volume 4 of Soul Eater Not, and the second volume of the Sword Art Online Fairy Dance manga. Those all came out in mid-November. Go out and pick those up if you're interested. I don't get royalties from them, so this is not a please support me thing. Just if you're interested in them, those are what's out now. I translated them, so it's good.
Oh, I have a question really quick for Steven. I'm just curious. Have you translated a light novel, and would you in the future?
Yes, I have. I translate the Sword Art Online novels, and I will be doing more stuff in the future. I just started a new project. So, yeah, Yen Press is very busy with the light novels. So,
yeah, I like that they release those. It's nice.
Joey, what have you been up to? What are you doing?
Well, as always, I write and draw a graphic novel series called Mermin, published by Oni Press. It would make an excellent holiday gift, I would, if I dare say so myself. And that's available through any bookseller, print and digitally. And you can follow me on Twitter at Joey Weiser, and that's Weiser. And in the past couple of weeks, I just started a daily drawing project for myself called Daily Dragon Ball, where I'm drawing just about every character from Dragon Ball in chronological order. And that's been really fun. I've been posting them to dailydragonball.tumblr.com. And, I hit, Goku and Bulma and all the main people. But, for instance, today I'm drawing a little bit ahead of what I'm posting. But today I drew the Tenkaichi Budokai registration guy. So if that interests you, please check out dailydragonball.com or .tumblr.com, or I post them on my Twitter as well.
I've been following along. It's been a lot of fun to see your take on a lot of characters I completely forgot.
They're really fun to draw. It's making me really appreciate Toriyama's designs even more.
Gotta. Who else? Jammer. What are you up to?
Oh, where to begin? Okay, so you can follow me on Twitter at JamTheWriter. And also, my website is josephmedinawriter.com. And I'm doing, I have a few podcasts you can check out there. There's Pillow Talk, Shooting the Shit, and Animanga Podcast. And you can check them all out on that site. I have a comic that I'm releasing that you can also check out on the site. And we'll be releasing my first novel in a series January of next year, just in time to miss the holiday season. It's a Western called Dangerous Faces. So there's that. So a lot of cool stuff.
And finally, Steve, what have you been up to?
Well, the usual drawing of drawings. Working towards getting Jason the Princess of the Universe rolling again very soon. I've been working on some pages with a few minor setbacks, but cross your fingers. Haven't been updating Tumblr too much lately because I've been busy, but please follow me, stay tuned, more art coming your way. And also, this past week, I've guest starred on Doctor's SSA podcast, and that was a lot of fun. We talked about a certain wrestling anime, and if you like wrestling and you like anime, but if you like more wrestling, you'll probably enjoy it There's a lot of in jokes in there. I feel bad because there's probably a lot more in jokes than I let slide on this podcast, but it was a good time being able to sit down with Doc, and we had a lot of fun. And go to ssapodcast.com. Sorry, I called it SSA podcast, but go to there and listen to it. Cool. It's cool. It's cool. Sorry, I realized I was no. That one was intentional. I realized I was stuttering a lot. You all thought I was robot.
That does not compute.
Steve, how could the good people out there contact us?
Well, they get.
Come on, Steve.
Also good. That phone number is. That's.
Wow, he's really good at this. I believed you for a second there.
I'm good. Acting. No, you could go to our main website. That's onepiecepodcast.com. Check us out. Rate and review on iTunes. Follow us on Facebook. Facebook and Twitter.com/onepiecepodcast. Tumblr, onepiecepodcast.tumblr.com. I think that gets updated every now and then. We're on Stitcher Radio. We're on SoundCloud. If you guys just like MP3s, go there and listen to your MP3s, because that's where you can find them. We're also on YouTube, where we might have something every now and then.
Yeah. Steve.
Did we actually lose him that time?
Phone number? No, I'm thinking.
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI. That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, comments. No, it was really working. It's a joke. It was a joke. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast this week. We have a cool new feature on the side of the website. You can check out all our episodes, stream them live on the website on SoundCloud. And guess what? If you embed those, if you share those from SoundCloud, you can play them anywhere on Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want, on your website. Check them out. It's a really cool way to interact with the podcast. You could also comment at certain times while you're listening. So it's a really cool interface that we're moving toward. I think that's everything. So thank you all for coming on the podcast. We'll see you guys on December 15th with an all-new episode of the podcast. So for the One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
And Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
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 Crazy, crazy rainbow star Twinkle, twinkle rainbow star コバルトブルーな2色を重ねてゆこう Crazy, crazy rainbow star Twinkle, twinkle rainbow star 瞳に映った悲しいリアルを壊せぬくもり付きの羽をあげようシュールなだ天使心から